Yeah, having an actual conversation without a fucking script or
Yeah.
like an outline of like what we're gonna talk about. It's pretty
Exactly.
fucked. But all right, I hit the button. We're streaming again.
All right.
Hi, I'm Jack. This is my stream. These are D&D people. This is the D&D stream, Zelenkov. This is the DM, Roach. This is a player, Chris. This or Sexum or Suji. Suji. Let's go with
Suji's
Suji.
my
That's
name, yeah.
that's fucking 7. He's also a noob player. I am Jack. I am a noob player. We don't know what the fuck we're doing. We're on our second season of the campaign. This guy runs it. It's all in his brain. That's about all I got for you.
Secret tip: his name is not Jack in D&D. Wow.
Wow, my character name is Vinteth. I am a fucking elf. That's all I'm gonna tell you. Fuck you. That's about it. That's all I got. I don't know. Yeah, so we can't have a session tonight because a couple people gotta work. So we decided to sit down and have a little recap season 1, talk about like what we went through already, the origin of the world that we probably don't even know about yet because he's gonna always word drop something eventually.
And if you're really interested in seeing the VODs of our season 1, they don't exist.
They exist.
That's why we got to recap.
He said season 1.
No, they exist. They're just in our brains.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, we didn't record season 1. We didn't record season 1 at all. I am gonna put all this shit on YouTube eventually. I was gonna make like a Zelenkov fucking, I guess, Gmail, YouTube account, some shit, so it's not under my personal. But the stream's still gonna be me, and then we're gonna rehost it. I know Brad made a Zelenkov D&D fucking Twitch account, which just hosts me, but yeah. I mean, eventually we could move the mainstream to that once we get shit settled and working. But this is very tossed together, zero plan style.
This is new. We are all new to this aspect of, Joe, you've been streaming for a while, right?
Yeah.
But you've never streamed D&D, let alone played it. And I've been playing D&D for a while, and I've never streamed it. So this is new to all of us. We're just kind of playing it by ear and figuring out what it goes along the way.
Speaking of being experienced streamer, I should turn up the fucking Discord sound so you're even with my voice, because my voice is way above you guys at the moment. Should be better. Is anybody fucking here yet? Nobody's here yet. We should text them that we're live.
I did, and Anthony said he'd be on about 20-30 minutes. And Dan is online. I just don't know what he's doing. Like, I'm 7. I'm a Warforged barbarian who eats everything and doesn't use doors. I'll make them.
He does make doors. He fucking breaks everything. It's like his purpose in life. I did.
Suji. Oh, go on, Jack. You're the host.
I'm double checking to make sure that I actually turn the delay off. It is off. Okay, we're good.
I increased it by 3 minutes somehow.
No. I only do like a minute or 2 delay because like matches, rounds are 2 minutes, you know?
Yeah, I get you. I was watching you a little bit last night.
You didn't say anything? You didn't say hi?
I popped in.
He's the stream creeper.
Didn't even say hi, man.
You were busy.
I don't have alerts on either. I don't fucking need alerts. Who cares? I gotta do silent alerts for like D&D sessions and shit.
No.
So my character is Suji, a dark elf who is a druid. I have a few special homebrewed abilities, like if I turn into a monkey, I can keep my scythe. During the adventures, I found the artifact pauldrons. I initially thought they were shoulder pads, but they were in fact pauldrons. And it ended up meeting one of the gods in Zelenkov, which we might meet one day. I'll keep his name secret for now, even though I'll probably say it later in the podcast. And was able to become a master of the forge. So I'm an elf who also wears armor. And I created an upgraded scythe that does some cool stuff.
Also, just to clarify, so as a druid, you are allowed to keep anything, any items or active that you want when you transform. The funny part, the fancy part about your build and the homebrew part of it is your monkey form is proficient with your scythe, which obviously a normal monkey just can't use a scythe.
Oh, it's the proficiency that's the thing?
Correct.
Okay.
That's the specialty part where you get to gain your proficiency bonus with an actual melee weapon as a monkey.
Yeah.
Either way, I'm a monkey and I swing around a scythe. I'm very happy.
Yep. I'm about a 1-month-old robot man who just fights everything. And it's fun. I don't have special abilities other than rage, where I get to transform parts of my body into weapons. I can grow teeth, claws, and a tail. And then I ate the no-no fruit, and now my life has gotten worse, but I've become more powerful.
More powerful.
More powerful. I'm going to eat God one day.
Any a god. There are many
Yes.
gods.
Oh,
I guess I should say I am a cleric of the death domain, and I use some necrotic spells and things. I'm very mysterious. I'm kind of like that edgelord character, but not. Just kind of yeah. I don't like to show my cards. I just kind of hang out with the party, like, hey, what's up? I'm here. I do stuff. I'm throwing some chill touches out. I'm helping. Oh, look, there's a boss character, big bad enemy. I'm gonna fuck it up real quick. Look, I'm actually strong. And that's kind of it. Nobody fucking trusts me.
Mhm.
And I've done nothing but good by the party, but they still don't trust me.
you
Assholes.
said I was your pets, so that is why I'm mad at you.
Yeah, he's a big rock monster. I called him my pet. He got mad at me.
And I face tank every enemy because that's all I have.
How about your insane bloodlust in your rituals? Listen, part of the backstory. We're not getting into the backstory. That's going to come into fruition throughout the session streams. People will learn that on their own. But yeah, all right. Since we fucked up and I put it on a delay and we restarted the stream, let's go back to the original world. Roach, GM guy, he created Zelenkov. Said it's based on 5e homebrew, blah blah blah.
Yes. It's a the system we use is 5e D&D, but it's a full homebrew world with magical items that are mostly created by me. Some of them are existing items that I made a little bit of tweaks to. But it's a high fantasy, high magic campaign. I like to be very liberal with giving out things. Like and my players, you guys can all attest to this. One of the first things I told you is I like my heroes to be heroes. I think that's kind of the plot of a lot of video games is you are the main character of your own story, and that's what you do is you collect these awesome things and you make yourself awesome and you make yourself unique. And I think that's kind of one of those things that RPGs and tabletop specifically, you get very typecasted based on your class and your race and stuff like that. I think items is kind of the most unique way to make your character feel unique, like make your own. So that's why I try to give out a lot of magic items with a lot of different effects. And as we found out at the end of season 1, you guys all got the opportunity to help kind of craft your own magic items, which I hope you all enjoy.
Yeah, so for those who don't know, at the end of the first season, after the big boss battle, the guy who gave us our quest giver, aka the broker, was like, okay, you have an option of taking a bunch of gold, or you can pick an item from my vault. And this guy is like, big dick in the fucking world. He's got lots of powerful things, lots of spells, big knowledge, reasons. So obviously we're gonna take the fucking we're gonna take his area rug is bigger than most people's houses, as it was explained to me. Like this guy's got
even before we
baller.
officially met him, we were getting paid ridiculous amounts of gold. Yeah. So we definitely trusted him, and we knew that was the best choice by far.
Yeah, we became rich overnight, basically. But after fighting the big bad, we got to make powerful items that we got from his vault that we worked with DM here to get something that's like balanced but pretty strong. Suji's is busted, personally.
Hey, mine can only be used once for long rests. but
It's
it
still
allows me to
fucking
make
busted, dude.
multiple attacks based on how many feet I move.
Yeah,
So
that was
obviously
our.
later on, for any
Oh.
like future players, once we get haste, it can definitely become even stronger.
Yeah.
We don't even know what haste is.
Haste doubles the movement speed.
Very good.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about the world. What the fuck is Zelenkov? What is this map I'm looking at?
The map, yes. So yes, like I said, it's a completely homebrew world. The rough history that is known by most people is the fact that the world is relatively young. Somewhere within the last 1,000 to 1,500 years, it's not quite written down and kept very well. The world was overrun by elemental chaos, and humanoids didn't exist yet. It was mostly just the elemental planes kind of all swirling together and at constant conflict with each other, and kind of made the world a war zone, until at some point in its history it was visited by two godly celestial beings, these siblings, Crowan and Soren Lin, that basically found the world, saw the potential of it, and through talks, negotiations, and things that have been lost to time, were able to reach an agreement with what is known as the four great old ones of the elemental planes, to kind of get them to back off into their own domains and kind of leave the realm itself alone to kind of heal. And they would Soren Lin and Crowan would take over as its kind of protectors. It's people in charge, the people to help maintain and kind of help the world regrow itself after who knows how long of this elemental conflict. And then over the time there, the lands start to come back, but running the world themselves wasn't easy. So they used their power to create the demigods, which all took over different domains. They helped, different cultivating lands and different, different aspects of keeping a world going. After some time and the world starting to kind of get back to on its feet, there were still signs of, struggle, still signs of, lingering effects from the elemental wars and chaos that preceded it. Crowan kind of got the idea to populate it with something. He wanted more than just the elemental creatures and different feuding creatures that existed here before he got here, which would include things like elementals, the dragons, giants pre-existed. We'll get more into giants later. I know Seven's waiting on that one.
Yeah.
And essentially he created man. He figured out a way to create his own creations. He created man, humanoids, specifically humans, who are the first people of Zelenkov. Humans started to settle, started to evolve, started to make different towns and villages. Specifically started around that Vertrag area on the map, which we were looking at. That is where most of our humans live. Now that obviously several hundred years later, people have spread out, but Vertrag is the predominantly human settlement in this world. Its capital is Crowhaven. But yeah, that's kind of where civilization started. It's where humanoids began to be. Over time, Soren Lin and some of the other demigods were watching man and watching Crowan kind of not forget his job, but kind of doted over the humans, and they thought that they could do it better, or they could, they had changes they wanted to try or make different types of creatures on their own, because they all, demigods, especially Soren Lin, were not of equal power to Crowan, but at least high up there. So they all wanted to try their hand at it. Some of them were completely fine staying in their lane, but that's when you got things like, we started Sorenlin created the elves, and then other demigods created other humanoid races. The halflings, dwarves were created by Hondrik. There's a couple others. If you want more information, check out our World Anvil. I try to update it at least once a week now that we're getting more consistent. It's mostly been for my players, but if people are going to watch and want to learn more about the world, more about the different factions in the world, that's a great place to go check it out. But yeah,
Like that.
So yeah, on there I keep track of different religions, different factions, the different countries, who populates it, who's in charge. I'll go a little bit about the map right now. So south of Vertrag, sharing in the same continent, is Kordath. Kordath is the continent mostly controlled by the dwarfs and other
it's bright.
Other underfolk, so gnomes, dwarfs, and then specifically under the Ashen Mountain and the Ashen Lake, you have things like your that's where your dark elves.
That's me.
Yes, that's Suji. Things like that. The different type of Underdark. Wow, I could not remember the word. People, different denizens of the Underdark kind of came from that that region of the world. So that's a lot of that. If you go up north, Nelphine is kind of your melting pot. It's not really home to one race. Everyone's welcome. It's less rules, much more laid back. The cities aren't really at war, at conflict with anybody. Anyone can come in and find their place there. Then up further north, you have Falfair. Falfair is your elven continent for the most part. Was established pretty quickly after Sorenlin created the elves. They were able to cultivate the lands, make it much more fertile, much easier to grow crops, things like that. So it's been a very good trade partner. No war has technically broken out throughout the history of Zelenkov. Again, the world is still young. There's been squabbles, there's been battles. Again, once I get I have a timeline that's going to be going up on the World Anvil page soon. I just haven't had time to finish flushing it out the way I want it. But that should probably go up in the next month or so to dictate any like major battles, major wars. The biggest war was probably between Vertrag and Kordath. Where it was mostly a border dispute of where Kordath ended and Vertrag began. But again, I'll go more into that later. Istrafala, the small island off the coast of Vertrag and Falfair. It's an Icen climate that is where the largest mage school of Zelenkov is. It is the home of the Dragonborns. Dragonborns in my world have a very interesting place. As I said earlier, dragons were one of the creatures that predated the arrival of the siblings. Very typical dragons, proud, covetous, much more powerful individually than any humanoid, but they were scarce in number. So what they actually found it happening as the humanoid races start to populate, while one-on-one any dragon could beat any humanoid. The humanoid civilizations were strong, and dragons, being vain creatures that they were, refused help from each other. So they started to have their numbers dwindle lower and lower as different hordes and factions of humanoids hunted dragons, whether it was to protect their land or as trophies or to harvest them. Many different reasons to hunt dragons, but the dragons started to dwindle in number to a point that they were on the verge of extinction. At that time, one of the dragons approached Soren Lin, Istra Formal. She was who is now considered the god of dragonborns. Essentially, she went to Soren Lin to advocate for the dragons and basically come up with a way that dragons could continue to live. And they actually, through the sacrifice of the remaining dragons, most of the remaining dragons, created the dragonborn people. Essentially, the idea was to split the power of dragons up amongst many to make their own humanoid race and have populace. But the good/bad fallout of that was that has helped bring magic into the world. The arcane and these creatures that were naturally magical are now a lot of people that are naturally magical, and they were able to bring their talents to the world and teach magic to the other races. And that's kind of what created a nice balance between the different races and the different people of the world, because the dragonborns were, still technically dragons, but by bringing this new element to the world and being willing to work with humans and elves, and they were able to establish this magic school. And there's several other magic schools that are like offshoots of the Istrafala school to kind of bridge the gap to create an olive branch. So at that point, dragons are now very rare in this world. Very few didn't go along with the plan, and the few that didn't have gone either into hibernation or hiding or haven't been seen in hundreds of years.
So basically what you're telling me is that we're not going to see a dragon for a long time.
That is what the world knows.
I know all of us are excited because a lot of us are first-time players. Like, oh man, Dungeons and Dragons, we're going to get the fuck up a dragon. And then...
Excuse me, you expect dragons in this Dungeons and Dragons game?
Yeah, like when the fuck do we get to meet a dragon? We don't have to kill the dragon. We don't have to fight the dragon, but I don't want to meet a dragon, obviously.
That's fair. Well, I mean, to be fair, though, you have
Game of Thrones style.
You have met somebody who has claimed to have killed a dragon.
Yes, we have.
So that'll be interesting to see.
Who claimed to have killed him? I'm losing my mind.
Second?
Who claimed to have killed the dragon?
Well, if I remember correctly, Colonel Sanders. Katori. We met an NPC named Katori something, or the fuck, what was his actual name?
Katori Ferdinand Clay.
Mr. KFC himself, yeah. KFC used to adventure with the broker, who was like, again, the guy who's been giving us requests. He's a request giver. He's the main antagonist, I guess, of our campaign. And yeah, they've claimed to fucking kill a dragon. I don't remember if it was with the broker or not in a party. I just know that KFC himself has said that he's killed. So that's a thing.
Yeah, it's happened. But yeah, other than that, the only other major place in the world that will actually become very important for season 2 is the Wastes. The Wastes is that small sliver of land on the eastern side of Falfair. It's actually exactly as it sounds, a barren land. No real life or civilization has been recorded there for quite some time. it seems to be one of the few places left in the world that hasn't quite fully recovered from the initial war / chaos of the founding of Zelenkov. But as we have found out through in season 1, I'll start to go through some season 1 stuff after this. The tiefling civilization of Zepharel apparently exists somewhere in the wastes.
That's where the fucking tieflings are in the waste over there.
Yep.
Oh yeah, okay, I remember that conversation. For like,
It's
sure,
'cause
he's like,
tieflings are trash.
you have to go to that way. Yeah, fuck tieflings.
Well, as far as we know, I'm the only warforged that anyone so far has ever met.
You're a fucking
I mean,
enigma.
there's discussions about it. People have said they've seen you before.
You're like lost to history, whatever the fuck you are.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for 7, what you've found out so far as warforged in the world, everyone you've met, including the broker, has not seen one like you, one that's a construct that has sentience, that is completely functioning on its own and not following orders or following a predetermined program. There are other things like you in the world. There are, magical constructs. Specifically, there are a group of, you were told about a group of mage protectors that were created to protect Istrafala and the mage school. But again, they don't have the level of freedom and personality that you have exhibited.
Yeah.
But the other thing that the broker pointed out to you is you are definitely more of an older model, as you are more stone and shift, like, that type of construct, where the more recent ones are metals and different types of stone or gems and things like that.
Yeah. I'm an old boy.
But he's only been awake for a month and a half.
Yeah. They explained the birds and the bees and gender to me so far.
He's literally a child.
We've
had to literally treat him like a child.
Yep.
Zaishuri, our little tiefling fucking paladin over here, a Jirachi in chat, is basically his mom. She's like his adopted mother now.
Yeah.
They went
think
out
of him as
trying
a
to
pet.
find a pet. They failed.
Yeah, now 7 bought shelfuls because he's gonna end up burying Suji.
Yeah.
I don't know if
He's a character that's lovable, but everyone ends up hating him, and he gets on a lot of people's nerves. You'll see as the adventure goes on.
My familiar specifically wants to fucking kill him.
Well, I killed your familiar, so have him come at
That's extra why he wants it. He wanted to kill you before you killed him. Now he doubly wants to kill you.
difference is I come back when I die.
Not if you get eaten.
We don't know that.
I feel like if he eats him, I just resummon him. Fuck out of here.
And we can find stuff else. So you willing to sacrifice Zoth for a...
No, you could eat
Couple
Tinkers. You could eat Tinkers. You're not eating fucking Zoth. Get out of here.
Okay.
For science.
Yeah, yeah. Robbie and Tinkers would be down for the scientific aspect. You're just not going anywhere near my fucking cat. Hell no.
Yeah.
Hell no.
But doesn't
Hell no.
Tankers want robot wings?
Oh, that's true. We will need some Suji action.
I feel like there's gonna come,
still a valuable asset.
dude. There's gonna come to a point
have
where
Master
Tinkers gets
Blacksmith.
his fucking crazy whatever armor, and then Seven's gonna eat him and assimilate Tinkers, but Tinkers is gonna pilot him like a mech.
Oh my god.
He's gonna get in the robot, isn't he, Shinji?
Get in the fucking robot, Shinji.
Shinji, please.
Oh,
All
that's
right.
fun.
I don't know. Let's go through what we went with, how we started in season 1.
Can I start?
Sure.
I almost broke the game immediately.
Literally.
It's like, free will, want to do what you want. 7 being a warforged barbarian monster kind of a guy. I immediately want to fight the guard captain. And
All right, set the stage. Set the stage.
yeah.
So our starting area was right outside for Trag, right? Ashfaller?
The hours glass.
No, but we started outside the town of Ashfaller, right?
Yep.
Okay, so we started right outside the town of Ashfaller. And we're just outside the gates. We did our little run through of our backstories or whatever. We're outside the gates of Ashfaller, and then we have to walk up to the gates and figure out what the fuck we're gonna do. Like, that's just it. We're plopped there, fucking do something. So we all walk up to the gate, one by one. We're like, we ask the guards, find your way to the hours glass, the tavern, whatever. Most of us are just like, hey, can you point us in the right direction? Blah, blah, blah. This motherfucker wants to rob the guards. He intimidates the guards at the fucking gate into bringing him to the tavern. He succeeds on the intimidation check, gets to the tavern, and then goes, hey, bring your captain here. I want to fucking fight him. And then he doesn't let the guards leave.
Oh yeah, another thing. Contracts are a very big part of this world, and verbal contracts are very important too.
Yeah, Roach, you might want to touch on that.
Sure. So as I said, many of the gods have their own domains, have their own things that they, lord over. Crowan specifically is the god of the deal, the god of contracts, oaths, and that has been a major part in the construction and development of Zelenkov, but also how people live their everyday lives. So the first thing is, yes, any form of contract, whether it be verbal, written, handshake, anything that you promise somebody, if you take an oath to a different god, even is all at least somewhat lorded over or watched over and enforced by Crowan. Most people in the world, not quite at birth, but over the course of their time, own. Essentially, it is a blood quill that it has a little bit of a pin device on it that you can prick yourself, and the blood seeps into your ink, and you can sign a contract through a blood contract, which is the highest version of a contract in this world. They are very rare, unless your name is Vinteth. It's supposed to be like you signing your life away, or you signing, this is undisputable. Like, it's easy to forge someone's name. You cannot denounce your own blood, is essentially the idea of, like, that's how serious that type of contract is. But yeah, verbal contracts are important. Mostly you just don't want to break your word. You don't want to break a contract. It's kind of how the whole world is developed, and when the main god is telling you not to break a contract, you don't do it. So most people take that, especially humans, take it very seriously. So obviously they are in the human area of this world, and majority of the guards that Seven has interacted with have been humans. So when they gave their word, they were going to make sure they did not break their word.
Yeah, those poor bastards.
Another important event in this world that has to do with contracts is the one day every 6 years there is, and I'm going to butcher my own pronunciation because I have to read it phonetically.
Vergabung.
Yes.
Vergabung.
Vertibung. The day of Vertibung is essentially a day of fulfillment, a day of questioning, a day of disputement. It's essentially, if you have a contract that you think it was broken, you can bring it before any church of Crowan, any any practitioner of the faith, and have it disputed. You have to give somewhat of notice to the person you are disputing, because they have to, show up. and then depending on the severity of the case or the severity of who you made the contract with, nobody has actually seen it, but it's been said that Crowan himself has shown up to some of these proceedings. Again, all whispers and mostly from Crowan paladins and priests that it happened. But yes, if you want to try to get out of a bad contract, or if you think that you fulfilled your contract and the person that you're in the contract with is trying to argue it with you, that is the day that you can dispute it, try to either get out of it. You can buy it out. There's several different, depending on the contract you sign, you would go for that day to complete it.
To put my character in perspective a little bit with the contract thing, the first thing I did was seek information about the god I follow, Soren Lin. So when we got to the tavern, I wanted a drink, and we didn't start with any money, so we're poor. And the first thing I did was make a blood contract for like 2 silver or some shit for a drink.
I started the game with money.
He robbed one of the guards at the fucking gate, so he had money to begin.
Rob him.
he persuaded him to give him money because he had none.
Persuaded.
Yeah.
So yeah, to go in, yes, that's mostly about the contracts. Again, so it's something that I keep track of and my players know about, and they, again, in certain cases, how I word things, how they word things, how they spell things is very important.
Spell things,
yes.
So it's an interesting twist, and I think it's an interesting thing to add to a world. It's something that's not, at least I don't see it done very often. Especially, there's 3 things that I love about D&D, and I tried to work them all into this world. I love high magic, as I've stated before, so I love the versatility of magic items and the plethora of magic items, and making the players feel like they are different than just, I am a cleric and therefore I need to be a cleric, or I am the barbarian, I need to just punch and hit things with a sword. I try to make people feel unique that way, so that's like one of my big things. The second thing, and this is more, it's for me, but it also helps me write the story, I guess, is I love pantheon building. I love religions. I think it is a very fun way to add flavor to the world and flavor to your character, because even just in this party of mostly new players, Brad, who has joined us, is one of my long running players, so he is familiar with my D&D style. We have a plethora of different people, and we have everything from super devoted religious people to understands the gods exist and they help you in different ways, but and then you had somebody who was completely agnostic and now has talked to a god. So it's, we have a little bit of everything here.
He met a god. My character's entire fucking purpose.
God, but I never really cared. I kind of learned it from my other trainer. But yeah, then I just get to meet a god, wake up, tell everyone I met a god. They seem to be a little upset some reason.
Fuck you. My character's entire purpose is to seek out and commune with the goddess Soren Lin, right? This motherfucker doesn't give a single shit about any of the gods. Gets an item and then meets a god. Just like that.
Just felt different.
Most of us are out here seeking wisdom and praying and hoping for signs and shit. This guy is speaking directly to a deity. We're just okay, I fucking guess so.
And the deity hates him.
And the deity, helps me build a weapon, all that stuff. Our tiefling friends seem to be quite upset with this. She forced me to go upstairs and explain more.
Yeah, she even said Suji is not worthy in the chat. Suji is definitely not worthy. Bitch ass fucking druid.
Yeah. Then there's Mod God that I follow, who is the God King. Rugbark. And he's the best.
That's what we didn't touch on, and we found out because of him, is that there were gods before the siblings came, Crowan and Sorenlin. So,
Yeah.
Roach, want to explain that a little bit?
Sure. So the idea again is the world existed, and this is one of the major plot points of season 1, and kind of what driving season 2 and beyond for you guys is the broker is interested in the world before. The world before the siblings arrived, the world during the elemental chaos where no information really exists. Like they know things existed here because it's vaguely touched on. Because if there was conflict, there had to be people or at least beings involved. And as I said earlier, some of those beings that existed, the great old ones of the elemental planes, the dragons, and the giants. And it's funny because there's still the parts that don't add up is the fact that some of the deities that are still considered part of the Crowan pantheon are beings that existed or claimed to have existed before. Rugbar, the giant king, being one of them. Istra Formael, the dragon goddess, the great old ones, of course, and mostly just them. But essentially, the idea is, and what you were broken down to, I'll go into that as we get to the end of the season 1 recap, because that's kind of the major plot point of that. But that, yes, as far as gods that existed beforehand, those were the ones that have been kind of talked about, but are also still part of the pantheon and considered part of the pantheon, which is odd.
Lots of gods.
Yes.
There's the deity listing on the
Gods on
the World
gods on
Anvil.
gods.
Yes, there is a deity listing on World Anvil. Last time I checked
fucked
it,
up.
there is 22. It's a pantheon of 22.
I should make a link directly.
But yes, Rugvar specifically is the god of giants, strength, and history.
Yes. The best one.
And the god I met in my dream sequence was Hondrik, which he mentioned earlier. The god of the forge.
Dwarfs, guard of artisan, guard of crafting, all that fun stuff.
Suji only cares about the forge.
Of course, he doesn't. He doesn't care about dwarves or elves, tieflings. Mostly elves.
I mean, Suji cares about elves, but maybe not in the way people would think.
Oh, this shit's
Suji
fucking
started
embedded.
it with being a self-hating, well, I wouldn't say self-hating elf, but hate elves. Because, he mostly sees humans along his adventures, and they don't take kindly to elves. So he kind of just blended in with them. But with the party being mostly elves and interact with them, he still kind of hates elves, but not as much.
Fuck you.
They give plenty of reasons to keep the hate in.
They do.
Welcome back.
One other member we haven't really talked about yet is Valir. He is a monk. He likes to be nice and clean, squeaky clean. So any kind of dirty jobs might keep him away. Giant putrid monsters, even though he's a monk, he might not want to run up and just jam his fists in them. No pun intended.
Oh.
Or innuendo intended. Very cool character, pretty calm.
Pretty cool. He does have a tendency to get surrounded quite easily.
Yeah, he has a penchant for getting himself in very bad positions to start of fights. Even though he wants to stay away from the action to start, he always ends up getting surrounded, which is pretty fucking funny to me.
The enemies are just naturally attracted to him.
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
All right. You guys have any questions before we like start going into a recap of season 1? Anybody? If you fucking talk about Skyrim, I'm banning you.
Damn.
Or in general, chat, anything you kind of like to hear about the world or you think's
Please
important
ask
to
away.
understand it?
Yeah.
Skyrim sucks. Morrowind is the best. His fists are freaking broken. Yeah, he's a monk. He does fisting shit.
He does that.
And the enemies always catch these hands. When will your character take an arrow to the knee? Shut the fuck up. Hopefully never. It's probably gonna happen to one of us eventually, but hopefully never.
I don't shoot a lot of arrows.
I throw a lot of javelins.
Yo, we haven't really run into any archers yet, have we? Mostly been little frog douchebag creatures with sticks and bites.
We've fought a lot of frogs on this adventure so far.
Yes,
Yeah.
we have.
That's gonna be the best part of the recap because I get to say I told you so again.
Yeah. I think I've eaten about a dozen of them.
What will 7 devour next? You. He's gonna eat your ass.
Yes. Yes, I will.
Well, at the end of the last session, he ate half a fucking frog hemoth thing, a very, very big tentacle bullywog frog creature. So, what did he eat? Like 200 something pounds of fucking frog? Down
No
that
more.
bitch.
There's kind of only like the head is left now.
So he like devoured the entire body. Is that what we're going
It's
with?
a good chunk.
Right.
Yikes.
There's also a good chunk probably still on the docks because let's be honest here, Seven's not exactly a clean eater.
And it was a 20-foot tall giant frog with tentacles.
Yes, that too.
Yeah, but
Very big.
it's fine.
But the question is, like, he ate all of that. Where did it go? Because he doesn't have like a food baby. He doesn't have a belly. He's not
That is a
distended.
question.
Where did all the fucking frog go? Where did all the other frogs he ate go?
The
This
ice
is
element
like a
fall-
core mystery that's
Iron
like
stone doesn't expand.
more confusing to us than like any other shit in the world. Is like this motherfucker just keeps eating other creatures and we have no idea what's happening to them. He's not a biological thing. He doesn't eat shit for sustenance. He doesn't have to eat. He doesn't have to sleep.
He doesn't have to breathe.
Yeah.
I don't have bones.
Waiting for him to
So
eat
long.
something and have a mutation from it. So are we. So are fucking we.
That's why I have to eat everything.
Like he's gonna
So
turn
we've
into.
been
He's gonna
quiet.
gain some fucking frog power or something.
You need to RP eating rations a bit more.
We're elves, dude. Eat like one ration
We're
a
not
week.
like cows. We don't need like grass and stuff. We still need rations. We need substance.
We'll get there. We'll get
Why do
there.
we have to RP eating rations?
I don't know. Just so it's there. Actually use them. You don't have to totally eat it like, this ration's delicious today.
I just like to
Oh,
generally
my
assume that like
God.
when we're resting for a little bit, we're like snacking and shit.
Yeah. 'Cause, I mean,
Well, I have apples now, so we're good.
Good. Where's the good berries at? We haven't heard good berries in a while.
Hey, we haven't needed good berries.
Oh, we fucking needed good berries.
Dude, I
We've
need
needed
berries
good berries.
now. That last spell,
Seven could use a handful.
yeah, that last spell got me down to 3 HP. It's not good.
And before our last big adventure where we fought this giant frog creature we just mentioned, we did a battle royale. So since this wasn't a distress call, since the bullywogs, the frogs, were attacking the town, we still had a lot of the abilities we were planning on using for the battle royale. So maybe not the most optimal for an adventure against NPCs, PvE.
All I know is that thing was fun. Just not good
berries.
for you know.
Yeah. So we're talking earlier about the items we got as a reward for finishing the campaign at the end of the season, whatever the fuck. And they set up the broker set up a room where we can basically kill each other to test out our new items at no consequences. So we're all set up for player versus player battle before all this other shit broke out in the beginning of season 2. Yeah, no good berries. Sad boy.
All right, Master Chef Suji's gonna be coming back.
It's not fair though. You guys had the option after the battle royale to keep the items you got. I don't.
Well, you didn't get a specific item. You just kind of ate one.
Yeah. They only brought me one thing and I ate it because I didn't know what else to do with it.
Yeah, so he eats his item and he gets effects from it, but like he eats the bullylogs and nothing happens.
Maybe I
I-
just haven't eaten.
Maybe it's only magical items. Who knows?
Maybe I have to eat a magical bullywog.
Maybe
So,
well, we do
Nothing
have
happens as far as we know.
yeah.
as far as we know, but we do have a captured bullylog mage who I would assume is magical. So maybe that once we get bored of him, and Seven inevitably fucking eats him because we know he's going to.
Maybe I'll learn a spell.
You're never learning a fucking spell. No spells for you.
Why?
After
I have a
he,
running
after
chart.
he eats enough, he's just gonna get instant job advancement.
He gains a feat.
All right.
Wakes up tomorrow with a robot tentacle.
He's already got a tail. He doesn't need a fucking tentacle.
Oh, I need the tentacle. They explained it to me early on. Remember, the birds and the bees.
Oh yes.
Oh yeah, tentacle in the front, party in the back.
You gotta find. And
7 is going to be mating nonstop in the future,
I know.
and
it
have
probably-
no idea why he's doing it.
Like I'm pretty sure Chauncey just talked me into it.
Chauncey.
I'm sorry, information broker named
Chauncey's an
You got
information
to
broker.
say the whole thing. He's an information broker named Johnson.
Chauncey. Yes. It's just those weird sounds he was making. Something's gonna happen.
All right, nobody's saying shit. Let's go start the recap.
Cool.
All right.
All right. So
Oh.
I feel like this would be a fun way to do it. I'm actually going to read a little bit about more about the world / this world, my games, I guess. The world is completely living. So I am tracking events that are happening all over the world on the same day at the same time. So things are happening behind the scenes outside of this campaign. You guys were the first ones to have a campaign in my world. But there is a goal to have multiple games running at the same time, having everybody, running different missions and doing different things, and theoretically what each party does can affect what happens in the other games is kind of the idea.
We learned that the hard way.
So for each of these, like, I have different starter prompts, I guess, of different campaigns that I can run, should run, might run. So I'm going to read the intro blurb of what this campaign was. A group of fated adventurers from all walks of life, for one reason or another, approach the gates of Ashfeller. Their story starts at the Hour's Glass. They don't know why they're here. They don't know what they'll find. But promises of what they are looking for and a little bit of coin will help drive them along. That was essentially the small prompt I wrote for myself of how this campaign was going to start. As we mentioned earlier, you all start your adventure arriving from different walks of life, different places, different origins, to Ashfeller for one reason or another. And you were either told to seek the Hour's Glass or you're looking for certain things and you just happen to start looking at the tavern, which is the Hour's Glass. But eventually you all were brought to this particular place. So I'll tell the story in like different parts, but I feel like a fun way to do this is have you guys give me like talk about how you guys perceived it from your perspective, the different arcs that we went through. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because, I set up a story, you guys told it, which is what a big part of D&D is for me. I have a story, you guys are, the ones living it. So I think that's an interesting way of kind of talking about how season 1 went.
Works for
So,
me.
beginning of season 1, the Hour's Glass, Gus, and Twice Lucky Ned.
There. Well, I took it a little differently. And I assaulted some guards. Because I need to figure out some stuff, and just however I was programmed before, taking over a little bit more. So, like, these guards are not doing their job being guards, so, I had to step up to them. I was reminded several times that this is a civilized town. I can't just murder them. So I challenged them to an arm wrestling contest, and if they could beat me, they could leave. The first guy was like, yeah, I'll take you on. He went through a wall. The second guy, I snapped his arm, and the third guy just gave up and waited in the bar for days. Till the guard captain was able to finally come and meet me, where he very quickly handed me my own ass.
That he did.
He did. Those paladins are no joke, guys. But yeah, it was a good story. Like, my backstory is with no direction. I traveled west of the woods for weeks until I came across the town. Will I find a purpose here, or will my newfound emotions get the better of him first? So there's always been like a little bit of a depression and some new feelings going on for a robot man who is, let's just say, neurodivergent at best. So I took
To put it politically correctly, yes.
Yes, because words hurt, guys.
Fuck you, Rock Boy.
I'm gonna hit you with a shovel. I'll be fine.
Yeah,
you can't take. Yeah, you're squishy. I am not.
My backstory is I'm an elf. I was an orphaned elf. I grew up with humans. I was in a church, serving, for some reason or another, the goddess of elves, Sornlin, but she's also the god of death and betrayal and some other things. And leaving most of the details out, a rival sect came and fucked up our church. So all the humans that were around either didn't die or went to serve like human god or some shit, god of light, whatever the fuck. Went back to crowing. So I went on this quest, like, oh, I have some kind of fucking strange power now. Why do I have the power now that the church is destroyed? I killed the old leader of the church, became powerful, and just went on a fucking quest. Like, why do I have this power still? Everybody's dead. My sect is over. So I'm still like a zealot. Like I believe very much so in Sornlin. So I come to the town, and instantly I'm just like, I don't care about anybody. I just want to find information about my goddess. Go to the Hour's Glass, make my way there. Talk to the bartender, Gus. Gus is a homie. I'm pretty sure I scared him because I had no money, and the first thing I did was make a blood oath that I owed him 2 silver by the end of the week in order to be able to afford a drink. That's where I started off. Like this fucking psychopath to humans for writing blood oaths over 2 silver. Go on there, Juju boy. He looks lost. I think he's playing Lost Ark.
You may?
Yeah.
Were you done with your thing? I heard you were talking about.
Yeah, I mean that's my introduction to the fucking beginning of the campaign.
Okay. Mine, Suji. Mine was pretty simple. Basically, my backstory was my parents were very high noble mages, and I lived in a house of glass One night, come back home and the whole house is destroyed. My parents are assassinated. Everything's gone. But through my training, was really poor at learning the elements, never quite got a full hang of it. Little touches and understandings of the way of like a wizard. But I found better proficiency in earth magic. So I ended up following the ways of the druid, trying to find my way by myself in life. I come across a druid, trained with him for a while. Eventually, I moved on, and I ended up in the Hour's Glass. And while talking there was a pretty beautiful woman on a couch. Tried hitting on her, failed miserably. She never returned to the bar. Probably never will. Like that must have been a scary experience for her. But for the most part, my character was fairly reserved. Maybe not the most outgoing and wanting to do things, but everyone else was with it. Didn't have much place in the world. Decided, why not? Let's see how this goes. And I've stuck with the crew ever since.
Okay, we talk about when you first came to the tavern. What was like your point of view, like with all the other people, with the NPCs?
I mean, all the NPCs, I interacted with them a little bit. I talked to Gus. Gus seems like a cool guy. Ned was very smelly and strange. He's basically just pops out in the bar, reeks of alcohol, is completely wasted all the time. But pretty interesting. Basically, my character was fairly reserved, not overly interested in things, but was willing to go with the flow since he had nothing better to do.
That makes sense. So Gus, the bartender, is basically like, hey, if you're looking for a job or whatever, go sit by this table. And then this drunk fucking guy, Ned, comes over. Shit faced out of his mind. No. Still drinking. They're like, hey, I got an offer for you. It'll pay you this much, blah, blah, blah. And we're all like,
I think my favorite
Technically,
moment.
he came to us in a specific way at the table.
Yeah, I think that was one of my favorite moments of the early campaign. Was the end of session 1. You all had interactions with Twice Lucky Ned, the drunkard of the bar, you know, smelly, stinky, reeking of booze, drinking all the time. And you were all finally gathered at the table, and he stumbled over to the table, and then I did the whole he straightened up, and he's like, seems like he's not drunk. And that's where I
Completely
ended the
sober
session.
voice, like shocking moment.
And that's where we ended the session. And then we started the next week, and after the recap, I'm like, I'm just fucking with you.
Still completely wasted.
Yeah, so completely wasted. It was like I let you guys sit on that for like a week. Like, oh man, Ned's actually not. No, he's just
no,
Ned.
he smells like shit and he's fucking.
He just
He's
acted
actually
sober
drunk.
for 3 seconds.
Yeah, that was the impressive part. He could be sober for 3 seconds.
He's actually shit faced.
Yes. But yeah, so unless Revy, you want to add anything, move on. I'm not sure if you're actually up there.
Oh, sorry. I'm just kind of more to listening. I am.
Oh yeah,
Just like,
no worries. I didn't know what your plan was, but yeah, no worries. So yeah, you guys met with Twice Lucky Ned after you all gathered at a table, and he brought to you a proposition from the broker. At this point, a unseen benefactor who had a lucrative contract for you for this group of individuals. Something was stolen. You were asked to retrieve it from a couple of bandits, and if you wanted it, you could take the job. And at the conclusion of the job, you could either walk away or sign a contract to do 3 full jobs. And basically, that the money would be discussed based on the job. And it's kind of you were given he would offer you a job if you didn't want to take it. You didn't have to. You could wait for the next one. And then, but the if you took the contract, you would be on the hook for 3 jobs total. But you all accepted and eventually made your way down south along the Ashen Lake to track down the bandits that stole something from the broker, a black box. And you were instructed not to open it.
Did we open it?
Which we did not open.
I don't think we opened it.
Nope, you did not open it. But after a couple days travel, you finally found the bandit camp and were able to engage the bandits, were able to wipe most of them out, but some point during the fray, a group of bullywogs broke into their camp and ran off with the exact box you were looking for, which extended to the bullywog arc of this. You guys stole a boat. You kept 2 bandits alive that seemed to have some sort of romantic connection. Oh lords. But you guys got in some boats, paddled your way out through the Ashen Lake. Due to Vinteth, you were able to track down the box, at least to a place that until you couldn't sense it anymore. But you were able to find a cave system that was being guarded by bullywogs. So you pretty much thought you were in the right place. Made your way inside, found a large cavern system that spiraled its way down through and closer to a lava stream. You dealt with some bullywogs. You freed a prisoner, Mr. Jermaine Lilypad, the frog lizard type folk mage, who is not a bullywog, and he'll tell you that very specifically. He's not a bullywog.
He speaks common.
Savages.
He scared the
He
shit out of all of
also
us.
hates bullywogs.
He also hates bullywogs.
He scared the shit out of all of us.
He did. But in exchange for helping him find his book and getting him out, Mr. Lilypad said he would show you around and help you if he could fight with the basic level of magic that he was capable of without his magic book. But if you found his book, he would be more helpful. You found a clutch of eggs that you left undisturbed.
All right, paint the picture. We walk into a cave. There's thousands of fucking bullywog eggs. Thousands. What would you do if these little douchebags, like attacked the bandit camp, stole your shit, and they have no known purpose? The little frog lizard guy who speaks common is like, I fucking hate these guys too. What would you do? Would you leave the eggs alone? I sure as fuck wouldn't.
We're the ones who wanted to destroy everything in there.
Seven and Vinteth, myself, were like, hey, fuck these things. Let's kill them all. Burn them, kick them off the side of the cliff, down the ravine, whatever. These eggs, squish them. End them. Kill the eggs. That's what it boils down to. The party, specifically this little fucking tiefling over here, who just said, I learned to choose genocide because she knows we were right, was like, no, they're innocent.
To choose genocide.
They're innocent lives. We should leave them alone. They're unborn
it's
eggs.
only a little genocide.
Only a little bit.
Huh.
So I was voted against, but like not kill them all. This becomes relevant later. Just know that I was fucking right.
We were right.
We were right.
Yeah.
You guys made your way further down, killed some more bullywogs. After a few hours of travel and the heat getting more and more intense for most of you, some of you were able to stave it off, as some of you don't feel heat.
Yeah.
You eventually came upon how to explain it? The massive, gargantuan form Emerging from a large lava lake, Baba Ugawa, king of the Bullywugs.
He has a name? I didn't even know he had a name.
He did.
Baba Ugawa. How does he have a name? Who fucking named him?
Who do you think named?
I know he named him, but how does if he has an established name in lore, somebody has to know he exists. Therefore, they had to name him.
Yes.
Fuck. Implications we weren't aware of at the time.
But yes, you found your way down to this large lava lake, and the towering form of the large Bullywog King who emerged from the lava lake. But you found this throne room esque where you were able to identify the fact that he had some sort of hoard or clutch behind him of magical items and things, and also through very good rolls realized that there were holes and caverns that dotted this entire area, and you heard the croaking of hundreds, thousands of bullywugs. So, thinking better of starting a fight in the king's throne room, you allowed yourself to come up with a trickery idea to get what you were looking for. You were told by Jermaine that the king, if it was in his treasury, that he would want something in return. So you offered items that you made look more magical than they were.
We took a shitty sword and we made it glow.
You did. You made a glowing sword and told him, "We will give you glowy sword for black mundane box." To which the Bullywog King, through some very, very good deception rolls, agreed to the trade, and you were given the black box in exchange for glowy sword. Not wanting to press your luck, you all made your way very quickly out of out of the throne room before, I don't know, the reported death of many of his guards. You guys got here by doing. But you made your way out. You got back to the boats.
Wait. Before we made our way out, I tried to kill the eggs again. Just to clear that up.
Second attempt of genocide thwarted.
I re-proposed the idea of killing the eggs again on the way out, since we're on our way out anyway.
Yeah.
I was shot down a second time.
Yes.
Just for the fucking record.
Awesome.
You made your way outside. You realized that while the boats were still there, Lawrence and his lover were not. And a note was left as Zoth, your cat familiar, was tied up and put under a bucket.
So we learned a very valuable lesson. I had originally wrote a little contract for them to sign that, like, we'll guarantee their lives as long as they come with us and guard the boats or whatever. And I misspelled Crowan's name. Big no-no. It basically, misspelling the god's name, like as witnessed by Crowan or whatever, invalidates the entire contract. So they agreed, and then they just fuck off without being bound by it. Very important lesson.
There was also a verbal contract I had with them. I think that was only for the first part of that while we had Lawrence. Yeah.
That was to get them you here.
Yeah.
Was the verbal contract that they would help.
Yeah, we made them row us in the boats and shit across.
None of my contracts has failed.
It's a learning experience. What can I tell you?
But eventually, you guys made your way back, handed over the box to Ned, who made the box disappear into his vest with no shirt.
Yes, flesh vest.
Literally he just went.
So, for the record, I want everyone to know I want to fight the Bullywog King.
We would have died.
No.
We would have been fucked.
Nah, I've been fine. I could have eaten him.
This giant
chunk.
fucking frog came out of a lake of fucking lava, of pure lava, and you thought we could have it shots and I can't even speak. It's so dumb.
Yes.
We have no shot at all. No chance whatsoever.
7 at this point has only been awake for hours. So yes.
A few days, yeah.
On a neutral field at level 3, maybe.
Yeah.
You are in his lair, which you have not had to deal with yet, but we'll get to that soon.
Yes. But now we're
In
at
his
level
lair,
5.
we're all suffering from heat except for you and Zaishori, and I guess Vulgar because he's got his elemental thing going on, cooling him down.
Yeah, he had like one of those little mini fans. Just
Yeah. We're fucked. Plus, we're surrounded by thousands of bullywugs everywhere. In this big ass dome. Like, we were not making it out alive. Even if we managed to somehow kill the thing, we weren't making it past the hordes.
I think we would have.
Well, so that I did tell you. Had you killed the king,
New king.
combat ends. But you had to kill the king while they were still swarming at you. So
Yeah, it was like a fucking 0.2% chance or something. We were not doing it.
Success probability was 9.
9%?
Yeah.
Okay, we had a
And
9% chance.
That was a 9% chance because you were all new players and still getting used to your characters. I would probably say if you guys had the knowledge that you have now at level 3 still, it's still only like a 15% chance.
In terms of beating the Bullywug King?
Yes.
All right. So what would our chances been if we start at level 5 against him?
Vulgar's like, bet.
If you were to go back and try to fight him right now, I can't say because that's still a possibility.
Yeah. All right. Well, I vote on killing the king.
You imagine how fucking pissed Zaishori is going to be like, hey, Zaishori, so, we discussed and we're not going to go to your place. We're going to go kill all those bullywugs.
Like,
Yeah, fuck the storyline. We're out
Just
for
like
blood.
it's just like a 2-day detour. It'll be fine. It'll catch back up. It'll be all right.
Roach throws a binder against the wall.
She says the betrayal.
But you made your way back. You finished your first contract. You were paid and then offered your multi-deal contract. After some discussion, you all decided to take it. You are now in the employ of the broker.
Hell yeah.
Some days pass. You guys spend some time getting to know the town, hanging out at the bar. Eventually,
I realized I was naked.
you did.
I did. Can't do
Bought
it.
some clothes, got some new weapons, got some stuff. Eventually, you decide to go shopping and visit the magic shop. You guys found a very destroyed, disarrayed shop. The front door hanging on hinges. You made your way inside
Yeah.
and found nobody. You looked around, saw most of the stock was still there, which was strange. And you found a chicken
We did find
wearing
a
a
chicken.
hat.
Magical hat chicken. I wanted it.
Mm. I want to talk about their Babby experience.
Yeah, Chris, you want to talk about the Babby experience?
I basically transformed into a chicken so we could communicate with this chicken, see if like it was the pet of the owner, if they knew anything, etc. But apparently it was the owner himself. Now, these people clearly invaded and destroyed his place. But so we thought like, oh no, but like once I started talking to him and we had a pecking battle, I think I won. If I didn't, it's small details, don't worry
As
about
I sure you said the pecking order in all caps.
it. Either way,
Order.
Either way, we went on. So I asked him, like, they transformed you,
You
they
did not win the
polymorphed
pecking
you,
order.
anything? No. He turned himself into chicken. And pretty much all it seemed like the robbers really did was throw a rug over his destroyed thing from transforming. It's kind of odd. But either way, we I get some directions from him. He explains how to like revert him back after we solved a little puzzle, fixing up the little floor teleporter transmutifier, and Babby was back to being Babby.
We turned a chicken back into a mage after the druid
Yep.
turned into a chicken to communicate with him. It was eventful.
And then I couldn't have him as a pet. Sad, step
And
and
then
sound.
he explained what happened to his place. Which one of you guys could go into it?
Not me, I don't fucking remember.
It's all right.
Okay, he explains that in fact his place is completely normal, other than the rug just in there. It's basically always looks destroyed and terrible. That's just the way Babby lives.
But yeah, Babby would have told you there was some cloaked figures that came in, locked him in his room, but apparently didn't find what they were looking for. To which when you guys said that you were here because the broker, we were working for the broker, he handed you a scroll in a case and said, "This is for the broker. Make sure he gets it." And then promptly said, after giving you all time to shop around, that he was going on vacation.
And we never saw him again.
Nope.
At least me and Vinteth over here, we never seen him again.
It's true.
Yes.
But you return the scroll case, twice lucky Ned, completed another mission, got paid. Cha-ching.
Money.
Right.
Couple more days passed. A church was visited.
Yeah. So we're dicking around town, just kind of hanging out, exploring, and I was like, I had originally asked the bartender Gus for some information about my goddess or Lynn, whatever. So he slips me a piece of paper and goes like, "Hey, check out this old abandoned church, like the other side of town, like next to the docks or some shit." I was like, "Okay." So while they did whatever, I kind of went off on my own, and I found a church, and it was all fucked up, and there was blood everywhere, and there's a guy standing behind an altar, all kinds of messed up, and there was a book on the altar, and he just says to me, "Sign the book," and I'm just, "No, who the fuck are you? What do you know about Soren Lynn?" So I pick up the book and start flipping through the book, and I believe on the first page was a bunch of signed names, and I start flipping through, and it's a bunch of like rituals and stuff that have to do with Soren Lynn that I learned from my original church, and then a lot more advanced shit having to deal with like blood and blood magic and things that I wasn't really privy to yet. Like just way more advanced shit having to do with my religion, like the magical side of it. And I'm just like, yo, all right. Do I sign the book? And the whole time this dude's just like fucking practically melting, like, sign the book, sign the book. My character's like, I ain't no bitch. And like I believe it was assumed that like due to the power, whatever power he gained, it fucked him up beyond belief. And it was too much for him, so that's what's killing him. And I was like, you know what? I flipped the coin because I didn't trust it. I ended up signing the book. So I put my name in the book. Other detail. I was supposed to seek.
Because Sarnlin cannot be trusted.
Shut the fuck up. Part of my backstory that he wrote in after I submitted my little blurb or whatever was like, I'm seeking the name Foreign Singal. The Foreign Singal. I don't know what the fuck Foreign Singal is. It didn't come up until now. I was like, what the fuck is Foreign Singal? His name's in the book. So I was like, you know what? I'm seeking this guy. The coin said, fuck it, we're doing it. I'm doing it. I signed the book. What happened with the signing? Visuals.
Well, first you attempted to take out your pen to sign the book.
Oh yeah, I had to sign it in blood. Obviously,
Of course.
there's
Come on.
no ink.
Yes, everyone signed in blood. But as you took out your pen and attempted and stabbed your finger and went to sign it in blood, he slapped the pen out of your hand and started going through his crazy person speech. How much do you remember?
Honestly, not much. I wrote it down somewhere. And I don't know where the file is, so I
No
don't
worries.
fucking remember.
It's all right. Long story short, how dare you bring the uncle into this? How dare you blaspheme the mother by bringing the uncle where he does not belong?
The uncle. So we assumed at the time the uncle is Crowan because the pen and paper thing is all part of the deal. Is all Crowan.
Crazy speech. Grandfather cometh.
Which I'm still fucking wigged out about. What the fuck does grandfather cometh mean? So they dropped this line for this dude to like melt into a pile of like blood and fucking guts in front of me of the grandfather cometh after I signed the book. And we still don't know what the fuck that means. What is the fucking grandfather? Roach, help me.
You'll fucking find out, won't you?
And everyone in chat will too.
Yeah.
I have a feeling it is Rugborg. Because he's the greatest.
Who the fuck is the grandfather?
The oldest.
But yeah, so this dude like goes like he's talking to me and the grandfather comes, blah blah. He like dies. The book like fucking closes itself, and then I obtained the Holy Book of Soren Lin, which I was excited about because I thought it was gonna kill me. Very excited, very happy. And then I decided to search the rest of the church, and in the back there was like a hole leading down underground, and there's just bodies, rotting bodies, fucking everywhere. Pieces is some like weird necro who knows shit going on. Drained of blood, right? They're mostly drained of blood.
Yep.
Yeah, all the bodies are drained of blood. Me, as a player and a character, is kind of excited, but I was like, nobody could fucking find out about this shit. Like, I leave, I seal the hole, don't find anything else. I took like a silver goblet chalice thing that was on the altar, and I got the fuck out of there. I dipped. When we came back, we all met up. I believe Valir was sparring 7 off to the side outside somewhere, and they got back to the hourglass first. Like, oh, Vinteth, where were you? No, we're just going for a stroll.
Yep.
Comes up
We
later.
knew that was Cap.
Out for a stroll. I got my new fancy book now. I don't know shit about it. And yeah.
But at the resolution of that, you were all presented with a new job from Twice Lucky Ned. Apparently, some individuals were in town. The state of one of their relatives, they were collecting and trying to catalog everything, and they had run into some problems getting into the vault in the basement that appeared to have some sort of arcane properties, and they were paying, and they contacted the broker to at least have somebody come out and look at it. You know, if they could tell them anything about it, you know, great. If they can get it open, that'd be fantastic. But at least if they could examine it to see like if there's anything, you know, they could do about it. After some discussion, you all agreed to go to dinner and check out the vault and the court spirit estate.
Yes.
Yeah, we had dinner with some dwarves.
You guys met with Gemma and Horace Courtsbeard, dwarfs from Cordath who were here. One of their relatives had passed away, and their estate needed to be finalized and needed to be, you know, accounted for and collect, you know, the belongings and fill out paperwork essentially. But one of the problems was they could not get into the vault because it appeared to have some sort of arcane locks or arcane something. They couldn't get into it. No key was present. So they sought the broker, as the broker, you know, is inclined to do. Hire people that can solve such issues. So you guys all had dinner, talked with the court spears a little bit, but eventually, after dinner and dessert, you guys were led downstairs and asked to take a look at the vault, look at the basement, see what you can do. As you all made your way downstairs, except for Zoth.
Yeah, I left my familiar. His name is Zoth, by the way. A little black cat.
The
I left him observing the dwarves up at the top of the stairs.
Zoth is Russian for some reason.
Some
It's
fucking reason.
amazing. I love it.
It's his personality, I think.
Yeah, so the whole time
But-
we're dealing with this vault shit and trying to figure stuff out downstairs, which he's going to get into, Zoth is observing these dwarves. And just to ignore it later because nothing happened. They're sitting there playing cards and not doing shit the entire time. They just don't give a fuck.
So as you all made your way downstairs, a door locked behind you, and Zoth and the Port Spirits played cards while you all took care of the basement.
I didn't know Zoth was part of the card game. That's awesome.
Zoth
I
playing
remember
cards with
correctly,
dwarves.
He bit
Zoth
horse
is
at one
mean.
point.
Mean at cards, man.
He's a master duelist.
If I remember
I'd do
correctly, he
duel.
did at one point bite horse, like just fucking around with them. Swatting him, right? Or no?
He did that thing where it was like he put his teeth around his hand. Like, horse, like
Okay.
funny cat.
Right. Cat things.
But you all made your way downstairs. You investigated a closet. Had some rumblings behind it. You found a fire puppy.
Yep, we just broke into this rumbling cabinet that had elemental energy behind it. Just two of us, just me and Seven.
Yep.
And we found a fire puppy. And it loves me, and not Seven.
It does not.
Yeah.
And Seven's gonna. I was not happy about that.
He likes me.
I failed so many rolls trying to pet that dog, even with advantage.
And we mentioned before that Seven and Zaishuri went out on a quest to find a pet. That was because the puppy did not love Seven. So he's like, I need to find my own. And then still couldn't find one.
This was before that.
Yeah, that was the funny part. He was looking for a pet before that happened.
Ah, that's
Yeah.
even better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I
you made your way
know.
downstairs. You found a large open area that had grooves in the floor and 4 deep pockets that connected some of these grooves. You found the vault, and you found a series of large kegs, but when you went to pour them, it wasn't ale, it was some sort of concoction or elixir that all gave off different properties. After some messing around, you were able to there was a couple of different alembics and different chemistry sets. You were able to combine the different elixirs and different potions to create 4 distinct colored potions. You got a red one, a blue one, green one, and a yellow one. After some investigation and history aligning roles, Suji and Valir, I believe, were able to kind of identify the fact that the grooves in the floor and these these like holes that were there, lined up with the ley lines, these elemental connecting points of magic and natural energy of Zelenkov. And Suji was able to remember through his druidic training roughly where each portal should be for each of the elemental planes, which you all equated to a different color of these liquids. After some discussion, you decided to pour all 4 at the same time.
We fucked up.
Who would make that sort of a decision?
People
That's
You.
just
bad
crazy.
rolls.
It seemed like a good idea at the time.
It seemed like a great idea. We figured it was like the unlocking mechanism to the vault door or something.
Yep.
Which
Yeah.
kind of it was, but at the
Which
same
It
time,
was. It was the unlocking mechanism.
not the unlocking mechanism we thought it was. It was more of like
Yes.
a releasing a security system, which yeah.
Yep. So as you poured the liquids into the correct holes to match the elemental locks that they were meant to be, as you watch the liquid pour into the holes and start running down these different grooves in the floor and the channels to complete the different ley lines, where they intersected, you watched as different elementals popped up. But it was only where different elemental planes intersected. So you found half elementals: steam, mud, ice. I don't remember the fourth one.
I don't remember either.
Huh.
Yeah, the ice one fucked Suji up.
Oh, lava. That was the fourth
Yeah,
one.
the
Lava.
fire one.
Lava. Yes.
Yeah, the one that got its AoE attack off and rocked our shit at the start.
Yes. So you unleashed all 4 elementals at once.
So as new players, we went into hard mode instantly.
Yes.
Literally worst fucking case scenario.
Yeah.
Like-
The trap / locking mechanism was as the potions they poured into different intersections would activate. So if they did them one at a time, the most they would ever fight at one time should have been 2.
Yeah, the
But
battle
they
should have
did-
gone 1-2-1 or 1-1-2, depending on what we poured first.
Yeah, it could have gone 2-on-1, but that you would have done like opposite corners and then one in the middle.
Ah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, it could have either way. It should have been 2-1-1, or 1-2-1, some combination of that. But we decided to play all 4 at once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like the geniuses we are.
Heck yeah.
big brains.
Well, I ripped apart the
Big
mud
brains.
and then I ate the ice elemental.
A battle ensued. You guys held your own. Suji almost froze to death.
I believe Suji took no damage though.
He did not. He just took 5 points of exhaustion.
Yeah, just 5. 5 or 6. That's all that mattered.
Huh. If someone didn't
Um,
eat that ice guy, you would have died that turn.
It's true.
If the team actually helped me earlier instead of fighting all the other ones,
If you could roll your fucking saves to get out of it.
But you were eventually
No,
able
don't roll
to
saves
clear all 4 elementals. You were able to hear as each elemental fell a clicking noise coming from the vault. And then after the last ice elemental fell, you heard a clicking noise and the vault door kind of do that like half swing open, knowing that it was now unlocked.
Yes. And then
You went in the vault. You found exactly what you were expecting: piles of gold and platinum and silver. As they were a dwarven heritage, you found piles of gems, which are very rare in the world, as they are basically only mined in Kordath. So you had to kind of go through them to get to the gem world. But to see this many gems in one place was astounding. There was also a pile of random trinkets, different things. You took time to search and found the item that the broker had sent you here for. That was your backhanded mission. That there was a box that he was looking for you to reclaim while on your mission to help the Quartz Beard get into the vault. But you were able to find that. While doing that, while looking at this table of different trinkets and items, you also noticed, while there was a level of dust and it looks like this place hadn't been open in quite some time, which would match the Quartz Beard's statements. There was a very clear missing item that had to have been taken recently. A hexagonal box that was on this table.
And
The other odd thing
The room smelled like
Right.
sulfur.
Right by the table, there's a small pile of ash and the smell of sulfur. But you guys decided to help yourselves to some gold, help yourselves to a couple gems, take
Few
a couple
items.
items,
Hmm.
made your way upstairs, told the quartz beards that you'd done the job. You were paid. Thanked for your services. Made your way back to the Hourglass, returned the hexagonal box. Twice lucky Ned, who backed into his vest. Mission accomplished.
Didn't we try to open that one?
Yes.
Yeah, we tried to open it. Didn't go well.
Yeah. You guys aren't good at opening things.
So the first box had like something alive inside of it, we assume.
Assumed.
Felt like there's something alive in it. The second box was just an inert box, as far as I recall. There was like a power or something we were trying to, like, oh, magical.
Some sort of magical effect.
We couldn't get it open.
But you guys divvied up the items that you found. Most of you went back to your rooms to rest, recuperate, and attune to things to get yourself familiar with the magic items you found. Suji, you were given something that you weren't sure if you were going to use yet. You know, it was kind of like everyone else took something, and you're like, I'll hold on to this just in case.
It's like I had these pauldrons, me and Robbie grabbed items last. We're kind of like, oh, which one of us should get it and stuff. But, once everyone else kind of was like, oh, I'm going to be wearing my stuff, I'm like, man, I kind of this thing too, These pauldrons be looking kind of nice on me. These shoulder pads right here. Ooh.
But Suji,
I tune to them, take a little nap, and yeah, that's where the magic happened.
The magic.
Like I mentioned before, got to see the god Hondrik, crafted a new scythe because I impressed him so much. He definitely loved me and definitely didn't absolutely hate the idea that the monkey got the pauldrons that he made. Because that's how the legendary artifacts work. They were made by the gods.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically he was like, the monkey, why couldn't I get at least a robot or anything? Sheesh.
a robot the hell touched. Fuck, I would have taken the Tinkerer, I believe, were his exact words.
Yeah.
Piece of shit met a god.
Inkers would have been such a cool follower of Hondrik.
That evening, several of you had some interesting dreams.
Yes.
Seven, you were visited by a dream, which is already weird.
Yeah.
As for he does not sleep.
Yeah, we'll just say we got a little rebooted and I got some recovered some memories. In ancient time where like sound like the voices of children like shit, don't wake it, don't touch it going on, and then like blink out, and it's been like hundreds of years have been passing throughout every time I was blinking and waking up remembering things. So I'm very, very old. But I'm not.
Mentally.
Yeah, mentally. Definitely just some kind of guardian watch over something. Point it might have been a statue for all I know. It just because I look cool. I look cool as fuck. I got a full suit on, which is how I've been going to every single battle.
It is pretty damaged right now. We might need to get him a new one after our last battle.
Yeah. At least it's not bloody. It's just mostly covered in frog spit and holes from being bitten and stabbed.
Sounds about right.
Yeah,
Sounds pretty fucking gross, actually.
But
actually gross.
Several of you had some dream sequences. Yeah, were visited by nightmares, history, memories, a god. And then there was Revi.
Yeah, the best dream sequence because it was in real life.
He was lightly stabbed.
No dreams, no sequences, no gods. Just a pain in your side and a rush of cold as you woke up to the dagger in your side and a pool of blood that you awoke in as the robots attacked in the middle of the night. Androids? Because there are more androids, but we found that out after.
And one of the first things Ravi sees as he tries to escape the room from the assassins is not just Suji in monkey form, but in fiery monkey form.
It's true.
I got a new transformation when I met Hondrik.
And
So,
7 bursts through the wall like the Kool-Aid Man.
Yeah. I played my role so well the DM almost forgot that I wasn't supposed to make an extra action until someone reminded him.
That was fun. It was cool.
Yeah.
You burst through a wall. It was fun.
Yeah.
But battle ensued. You guys, over the course of time, were able to subdue the multiple android assassins that were here to. It appears to take out Ravi, but they were definitely spread out enough to fight you all, whether that
Gasp.
was or not.
Yeah.
Who knows?
And they kept repeating something.
You were able to kill most of them except for one. Upon being questioned, it was damaged, but still repeating words. Words that Revi has heard before. Words that Seven has heard before.
Yes. And those words were forged by man to fight the gods, left to rust and die. From the earth his body made, to nature he now abides. Travel west to find the spot where sand denotes the time. And they just kept saying it. Just over and over again.
Along with words that were from Revi's past, as Revi was saved by an attempt on his life.
Revi, what are the words?
He doesn't have his sheet up. It's fine.
I have no fucking idea. I was absent this session, so I was just kind of there.
Oh
AFK
yeah, the
helping.
chill touch session.
Well,
Well,
were you? You were there. You
I was
were
there in spirit.
Hey man, chill touch, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah,
helped.
the chill touch.
The character helped, but me, I missed everything.
Yeah.
Here, I got it. I got it. Man has everything else except the time that he wants. He loses it everywhere, from morning till night, from birth till death. Time doesn't die at all. It flies away into thin air. But the words were not read neatly in that order.
Oh God, no, not at all.
No.
It sounded more like a broken record, and it was repeating different parts of, not in sequence, both of those different iterations.
Yeah.
But you were able to take care of the problem. In the morning, talk to Gus, and Simon took care of it, because that's what Simon does for money and favors.
Yes.
But you guys took the day, replenished your items, you went shopping, you went to find some information. Upon your return, you were greeted by Ned and told that the broker wished to see you. And you were invited to a dinner party at his estate. You all prepared the best you could. You sought out by Gus's intel, Chauncey, someone who had his finger on the pulse. He knew what was going on. He great person to find information from. And you found him around the corner from an old church, once abandoned.
I'll touch the
Yeah.
church.
Yeah.
Pretty sure.
So I ended up having to explain to them bits and pieces of the old church that I got the book in. It was not a fun time for me.
No.
The fact that I even visited at all made them all suspicious of me. Like
And
you
in
said, you're
other
just out
parts
for
of
a
the
walk.
adventures- Other parts of the adventure, I've had to deal with Vinteth trying to talk about his religion. And when I read the sign, knowing a bit about religion, and I saw it was his church, I was like, nope, I'm walking away.
This asshole punched it, and I had to come up with a story at the top of my head. Like, let me just explain that it's not my religion. It has to do with Soren Lin, but it's derelict and destroyed. I'd rather see it destroyed than be a part of
So I hit it again. And then Evans, I sure took a swing at it.
Yep, didn't phase me. Inside I'm seething, but I'm just like, nah, it's whatever.
But after that, you were able to connect with an information broker named Chauncey. And yes, you need to say the whole damn thing.
Me being the first to interact with an information broker named Chauncey. My character is quite young, a little naive, doesn't have much social skills, was very sheltered. So, this guy asking for important, valuable information, offering him stuff like 2 silver, a good berry. That's about it. So he pretty much just laughs at me and he's like, get the rest of your crew. Like, you don't know what you're doing. You're stupid.
Get this hick out of my face.
And an information broker named Chauncey was very physically interested in Seven. He made all sorts of tings and dings and clinks when he saw
An
Seven.
information broker named Chauncey is an infosexual.
Infosexual. What did we end up learning from him?
You found out a little bit about the broker, not a lot, as that is dangerous territory. The name of the person Saishori was looking for would be left at the Hour's Glass and given to her several hours later as he needed time to get out of town. And then you asked him about Flora Singal. He laughed at you and said, nope, and got the fuck out of there.
I wrote it on a piece of paper and slipped it to him because I didn't want to say the name in front of them.
Yep.
Like very secretly, I was like, here, look. And he just fucking laughs at me, shoves it back in my face, and just walks away. just walks away cackling. Like, all right, well.
He basically said, what? He's like, what are you guys into? You literally came up to him and asked him about three very dangerous people. Because it's like the broker. That was like, okay, yeah, he's here in town. Sure. Saishori asked him about something, and he's like, I will tell you, but I need to be out of town by the time you hear about it. And then you asked, and he's like, fuck you. And just, no.
Out. Fucking out.
Beast. But you gathered your information, you gathered back at the Hour's Glass, you got yourself ready, you got some new suits. Or a suit.
Suit for 7.
Yes.
And you went to a fancy dinner party. Well, you also staked out the broker's place. I should not undersell this. You went to the broker's place. Revy made Valir invisible. And Valir went on a stealth mission throughout the dinner party setup. Which was a lot of fun actually. It's just him, I'm invisible. Just he stalked his way through the entire place. He kind of got the lay of the land. Yeah, a whole lot of fun.
Well, a recon mission that amounted to nothing.
Metaphor.
You eventually gathered yourself, prepared yourself, and made it to the dinner party at the broker's. Broker not yet in attendance, you all spread out, met some interesting folks. You met his goblin doorman, Finnegan.
Finnegan Swan Tooth.
Swan Tooth. Outside of that, you met not Saishori's mother.
Yeah.
Are you my mommy?
So the first tiefling Saishori ever met, her initial reaction was freaking out and asking if it was her mother.
Elvira.
Had we found out she was a tiefling? When did we find out she was a tiefling?
Saishori?
Yeah.
I think shortly
Saishori?
after the basement.
Officially in the vault was when she took her hood down.
Oh yeah, that's right.
All right. So
Where
throughout
she
this
felt
whole
like
thing,
after the life and death of the experience of the elementals, she finally had some trust in us. So.
yeah, we have like 4 elves, a tiefling, and big robot man, whatever the fuck he is. But she always had a hood up, so we didn't know what the fuck she was. And then until that whole thing with the dwarves, like, oh.
And she reveals herself as this rare tiefling and all this stuff, and our reactions like, yeah, whatever. We already got to deal with 7. Like,
yeah, she thought like anymore. She's special or something. We don't give a fuck.
Have you seen the robot?
Like, look at him. He ate that ice elemental like 2 seconds ago. Why do we care here, tiefling? What? We barely even know what that is.
This dude's 8-foot tall rock monster, and we're not perturbed. Like, what the hell's a little tiefling gonna do? She goes, "Mommy, sorry, mommy."
Yes, you met Elvira, the tiefling from Narfa, and that's my other campaign. Yes, you met the tiefling Elvira. You met the paladin. Many names.
Yeah.
So many fucking NPCs. We met like 8 different NPCs in this one dinner party before we actually got to sit down and meet the broker.
Yes. So you met the tiefling, Elvira Brimstone. You met the fanciful human gentleman, Katori Ferdinand Clay.
We met Gwyneth and Bernadette too.
Yep. Gwyneth Spore, Druid of the Found. Bernadette Volette. And the Lari Kreskai, the mage from Istrafala.
Robbie's BFF.
And a dick.
You met the paladin of Crowan, Torin Pridespire, vice judge of the Chosen.
Yep.
Also a dick.
Oh, yeah. You met the interesting fellow, Rabel Goran.
Which we're going to speak to soon. Give them a preview of how this fucking guy talks. Because 3 or 4 of us tried to talk to this thing, and it just didn't work.
Sounds
like a fucking Pokemon.
Rabble Grun indeed, my friend.
There was no communication to be had.
Of course.
At all.
I gave the how I developed his language is a combination of the worm creatures from Men in Black.
Yay!
Yay! Sora! Yeah, that is how he speaks. And nobody knows the language, except for apparently the broker.
Well, we're gonna find out soon enough now that I'm level 5.
That's true. You met Norad Duellin, employee of the broker to guard his library and his estate.
Secret prince.
in my notes, I wrote him down as a Bob Dole type of person.
What the fuck?
He just kept saying his name.
He
It
speaks
is,
like
Llewellyn.
Yes.
Llewellyn
Third
is
person.
as Llewellyn does.
You know, Llewellyn doesn't like to think too hard, or Llewellyn doesn't like to do a lot of things. But the Llewellyn does what he needs to do. It's what Llewellyn does. You met a bard that nobody asked his name.
Oh yeah.
He's sad in the corner. But all these people had one thing in common as you start to talk to them is that they've either done business or had gone on adventures with the broker or JJ or
Yeah, KFC
They're
called him JJ, and we were all taken aback at the familiarity at which he spoke of him.
But you guys had a couple hours to mingle with the dinner party before you were finally greeted by the broker. Human in his late 60s, early 70s, held himself with a air of confidence and power in his stride. Type of person that you can feel his importance as he enters a room. He greeted each of you, thanked you for coming, and when Revi attempted to start talking business with him, he said, "Please let me greet my guests, and we will talk soon." But you were eventually all, including the other guests, except for the bard and Finnegan, called into his study to discuss what the broker had brought you all here for. The broker broke down to you that while the world is young, it had a history before the siblings. That not enough is known about the world before they arrived, or even the couple hundred years after they arrived. The history is fractured of this world, and he sought to fill those gaps, to seek that information. It was made known that through his own dealings and over time, he had made a deal to gain substantial power. But the consequence of that deal was he cannot use it to actively search for what he is looking for. So he had found a workaround. He uses his abilities to help those find what they're looking for in exchange for finding what he's looking for. People like you. All people that need something or want something and are capable and brought to him for different reasons. Carries a tome with him and speaks of fate. Speaks of the Library of Bellamy. Speaks of the fact that individuals may be fated, but time of fate does not matter. That bringing individuals together that are fated to meet each other to do things that he needs is what is his best way of accomplishing what he wants and getting you all what you want. Speaks of history. He speaks of Rookbar. Speaks of the connection of Rugbar, Bellamy, and Lux Forna. The god of fate, the god of history, and the god of time and change. He speaks of their dynamic of how Belmi, the god of fate, keeps a library of things that could happen. And as things are solidified and things happen, they are sought over by, or they are warded over by Luxforna, the god of time, the god of change. And they are eventually brought to Rubar, Giant King, the god of history, the keeper of history. He speaks of its weirdness, how this and other gods existed and other beings existed before the siblings showed up. He speaks of the names of the great old ones, something lost to time, something that should not exist and does not exist in history, but have been found recently. He wants to fill in the gaps, but is unable to do so himself, so he seeks adventurers like yourself. The deal is simple. You help him collect what he's looking for. He'll help you find what you need. But before that could happen, before you guys make your final decision, you had one final job on your contract that needed to be completed. Options were given. You could seek the portal to the plane of fire, seek out the guardian Paraxis under the Ashen Mountain, past a familiar foe of the Bullywog King's court. Could gather some plants.
Yeah, gather them
Forests.
plants.
From the forest out east.
I voted to gather the plants.
Or, apparently, Horace and Gemma were not who they said they were.
Fucking dwarves.
Can't be trusted.
They took what was in the vault and in the estate and ran.
Can't believe people would take stuff from a vault that doesn't belong to them and just run away.
How could they do it?
Scum.
The entire vault they stole.
After conferring with actual court spirits from Cordath, the broker realized that these were not true heirs to his friend's old estate. And they absconded with things that did not belong to them. And for political gain plus payment from the broker, they would like to have returned what was stolen. So for vengeance and being lied to and whatever other reason, you decided to go after the court spirits.
Killing the dwarves. We are going after the fucking dwarves. We are
Killing dwarves.
bloodthirsty. We will kill them. We will make them suffer. Yes, they lied to us. They're not happy.
That is what set up our final session for campaign 1, or for season 1.
Because we petty, according to Volier.
I'm gonna go run to the bathroom real quick if you guys want to talk about it. Talk about feelings of dwarf.
No, fuck the dwarves, because we skipped over the fact that in the middle of that meeting, a couple things happened. One was that Rabelgrand fucking weirdo, Rabelgrand, whatever, jumped out a window, and the broker was like, "Oh, sorry about that. Hold on, just a moment," and went, and then put the window back together. We're like, "What the fuck? This dude's got time magic or something." Like he just he just fixed the fucking window.
And we found out Ned was fateless.
Well, you were kind of clued into the time magic when he specifically called out like his knowledge of my abilities and everything going on there too. I thought that was I was fascinated. I didn't expect that to happen in campaign.
Yeah. Old JJ knows a lot more than we think he knows. And probably then some.
Except who my parents are.
You don't have parents, you're a thing.
And that's why I'm going to kill you in game.
I sure is your mother now.
That's
You
fine.
don't get biological parents. You have like figurative parents. Or like
So wait,
we're
does
your
that
collective
mean
parents.
Elvira's his grandmother?
I guess so.
I have a family now. I have Ohana.
Oh no.
You're an honorary tiefling.
Yes.
There was also that the altercation with Torin, where apparently the broker has him under oath because they had a disagreement or something, and the broker was like, "Nah." I did like a little hand motion, and fucking Torin's like veins started turning black. He like stopped his heart for a second.
And I accidentally was spinning game at the only other thing close to a giant in this world we've ever met.
Was that Gwyneth or Bernadette?
Gwyneth. She's a 6'9" druid furbolg.
Yeah, Seven was accidentally flirting with a full furbolg.
Now, the only thing I didn't intimidate by running directly at it.
Yeah, she tried. Did you try to intimidate her and she thought you were cute or something?
I failed the intimidation thing, luckily. Like I think I rolled like a 3.
Oh, you're talking about the druid?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you failed, but she found you attractive. It was weird.
Yep.
She was blushing.
Was. I had no idea what was going on.
Super kawaii, Desu.
Right.
Yeah, we touched on the window and him knowing Robbie's abilities, the time shit, and what the fuck happened with Torin again? Where he was like, what was the disagreement?
After the broker brought up the idea of history before the siblings and Crowan specifically, and said that each of you had a job to play, especially those that he already had made deals with and contracts with, Torin being one of them, which is why he was here. Torin basically screamed blasphemy and that he wouldn't, like it didn't matter and he would not be helping, and which the broker just politely reminded him that he made a deal
Politely.
as his heart started to pulsate erratically.
Very, very effective reminder. There was something else that he said. The book. We tried to look into the book that we assume was taken from the Library of Fate belonging to Rootbark, but we're not 100% sure. It blinded all of us. Everybody tried to read it, except for me, I think one other, took a bunch of psychic damage or some shit. Attempting to read this fucking light in a
I
book.
didn't want to read this book, but I was told to, and I take psychic damage as well.
Yep.
Well, here's the I didn't bump that.
I did. I had to find out if Seven could read or not.
Well, you're not reading that shit.
Nope. But the only thing that couldn't, it didn't blind me though.
We found out that Ned guy, as he pointed out, was fateless apparently. So, whatever the fuck that means. Is it Enigma?
Yes. Whatever that means.
Means Ned's our best friend.
By all rights, he shouldn't exist if he has no fate.
Huh.
My opinion, but we don't know anything yet. Yeah, so we decided to hunt the dwarves. We had 3 choices, and we're like, fuck these dwarves, let's go.
Yep. So you knew the dwarves left the evening before, so they had about a day's head start on you. But the broker gathered you guys a cart, some horses, and you made your way right out of town, heading southward down along the Ashen Lake. As you assumed, they were heading to Kordath. Eventually, after about a day's travel, you were able to start to pick up tracks. Valir was able to pinpoint heavy cart falls where grooves in sand like dirt that was around the edge of the lake. You were ambushed by bullywogs that apparently now know how to cast fireball. This was very perturbing to Revi.
They had a mage. These little frog fucks had a
Gasp.
mage. And our mage was very,
That
very
was
angry.
better.
Yeah.
than
Then we
our-
got then we got to the foot of the mountain, and robot vision is a thing. And then Volier found their footprints disappeared into the side of the mountain. Volier found the thing, and Seven punched the mountain.
Seven indeed punched him out. And then, as Seven was trying to unstick his hand, Valier found the switch to open the secret door that Seven then had to quickly pull his hand out of as he was quickly being raised off the ground.
Yes, but the reason Seven punches all objects is because he has an item that makes it much easier to do so.
That is true.
So since he's still young and doesn't know much, he just assumes that it is something he should use no matter what, all the time, no matter the situation, no matter the owner of the structure.
He
Is
got
this
a,
a,
he
is this
got
a
a new
wall and I punch it? Yes.
yeah, I got a new toy. You gotta play with it. That's what kids do. It's still pretty much brand new.
He
It's
just
nice
has a
flow
penchant
chart.
for destroying any inanimate object that's like remotely in his way.
But you all made your way into the Ashen Mountain, several hundred feet deep. Till eventually you came upon what appeared to be an old keep. Hard to tell from far away, but you assumed it was some sort of underdark design, whether it be Duergar or Ashno or Ash elves, some kind. But it appeared to be abandoned for the most part. Made your way inside. You investigated the first floor. Found an old forge. Suji quickly identified this forge had been used for a forge master that he now is, things that are unholy. It was signs of flesh and decay. This forge was used for torture or some sort of experiment and not for its intended purposes of creating.
Excited me.
At his behest, Suji asked Seven to destroy it. She did.
I do.
Seven then punched his way through a door. On the other side, you were confronted by these fleshy mounds of creature. It was a combination of flesh and bone, held together though by sparks of elemental energy. It was a combination of the arcane and elemental and necrotic grossness keeping it together. And as they lashed out at you, they were hitting you with punches and grabs that had elemental elements to them. And then as they died, they even exploded as they could not contain their own form. Like there was nothing holding them together. They blew up essentially in front of you as they died.
It was painful.
But you were all able to take care of it. Found a key. Got a dead end. Found a keyhole that opened up a secret passageway up to a staircase that leads to the second floor. Made your way upstairs, you split up, found a center chamber with multiple entrances. Made your way inside. you found a large chamber with 2 sigils carved into the floor. One already glowing vibrant with reddish black energy, the other starting to flicker, starting to activate itself, it seemed. You could hear a faint and slowly growing louder chanting coming from somewhere in the room, but you couldn't pinpoint it at first. Eventually, across the room, on an elevated platform, Horace Quartzbeard greeted you. Behind him, still chanting, holding a book in one hand, was Gemma Quartzbeard. Battle ensued. Due to some quick thinking, hard hitting, a lot of bad rolls, the party was able to kill Gemma and subdue Horace. After collecting yourselves and tying up Horace and removing him of his armaments, you woke him to ask him some questions. What were they doing? Why were they here? And who was he? The who didn't matter. The why was intriguing. He spoke of releasing something, opening a portal, opening a rift from this world into the sea of the abyss to bring something through. The worshippers of the mad god. Screaming sorrow. Tor.
Bad juju. Bad juju all around. So there's these 2 fucking cages in this room, which we didn't mention, that had like some weird fucking chimera creatures in them. This giant fucking hammer wielding douchebag dwarf in the middle, Horace, and then Gemma up in the back just chanting. The fight was instantly stop whatever the fuck she's doing, stop her, because it's obviously they're trying to summon something with these sigils on the ground. So I jump up, I fuck up Horace, he leaves, everybody jumps on him, and then me, I believe Ravi, and I think who else came up top with us?
Think it was
Did the leader get up there?
Maybe you can chime in, but we're just instantly like, we have to stop her from fucking chanting like ASAP. Ravi was like adamant, yelling at us like, fucking stop her now. This is not good.
It was Suji because you cut off her hand, right?
No.
Huh.
I was
Son of a
always
bitch.
down bottom.
But her hand was cut off at one point.
He goes, nah, I was giving my man these hands. All right, he was.
I think so. Sure he did.
Okay.
Yeah, somebody else came up
Yeah.
with us, but I
he's
fucked up
up there.
Horace big time, big damage. He left to go jump down and fight them, and then I couldn't do shit. I just kept trying to break Gemma's concentration. I would hit her, but it just didn't matter. She summoned these little fucking
a
rat
bunch of
things.
Rats.
Yeah, some of these little rat things, which we ignored, which thankfully we did, because if we killed them, they exploded for a fuck ton of damage. So that was genius.
It's all luck.
But yeah, so we didn't realize how dire the situation was until like after we already won.
And the DM explains stuff.
Yeah. If we didn't stop her within like 2 turns or 3 turns or some shit, they would have released the 2 creatures from the cage. I think it was 5 or 7 turns or some shit. The big bad comes. Like she succeeds in summoning whatever the fuck is summoning.
Something we would have 0% chance of killing and would completely change Zelenkov forever.
Yeah,
that hero smile.
Win condition run, and then I had a lot of work to do on what was happening in the world.
All of this would have happened anyway if we didn't choose this course of action, by the way. So if we went to the fucking woods and got the flower or whatever the fuck the other job was, who cares? all this would have happened anyway, because it's all happening simultaneously. So they would have summoned this big fucking giant abyss creature down here and fucked the world up beyond whatever like we're capable of at the time being. And we'd have no idea. It would just be out there in the fucking world somewhere. But luckily, our bloodlust for the dwarves lying to us turned out to be a very good thing.
A blessing in disguise.
No. Praise Rugborg.
So you took care of that. You questioned Horus. As the questioning started to probe deeper, Horus realized that he had said too much and bit his own tongue and killed himself.
We tried saving him.
Tried.
You did. But you brought back Horus. You attempted to find the treasure, the hoard from the court here to state. Eventually, you're able to figure out that it seems partially the reason why the Court Spirits Estate was targeted for this by this group was you looked at the 2 sigils that were on the ground and saw what you could only describe as probably the rest of the gem hoard that was there ground up into dust and used to create this sigil and fill in this, these 2 giant circles, essentially. Didn't explain where the gold and all that stuff went. Eventually, you were able to, searching through the bodies, found Horus had a bag, a satchel on his hip that Revi was able to identify as a bag of holding that contained the riches of what remained. But you brought that and Horus's body back to the broker and presented that, plus the information you would learn from Horus. On doing so, the broker, for the first time in any of your interactions, appeared physically worried by the mention of the name Tor. But he quickly was able to ready himself and compose himself, and at your behest, as this is something you guys want, offered to look into this, as he was not curious at all whatsoever. Shifty eyes, shifty eyes. But contract complete. Your pay was presented to you once again. 20,000 gold or 10,000 gold plus an item each from his vault. You all chose the items. You took some time in his vault, presented with different things from some of his employees, eventually made your decisions, and the broker offered you an opportunity to test your newfound abilities and newfound items. Worry-free, carefree, consequence-free. That was the end of season 1.
We did it.
Did it.
And we got level 5. We got stronger.
You're now all level 5. You all have at least 1 magical item. Most of you have 2, though.
Well, yeah.
And we are now approaching the next stages. This is in the way that this was set up and presented to all of you. The backstory stage. This is, you all had things that you came here wishing to accomplish, and the broker again doesn't care where you go. He just has missions for you and things he would like you to bring back for him. So he told you to take some time, discuss it amongst yourself, decide what you wish to do, where you wish to go, what do you want to, which thread would you like to pull first? And after some discussion, the party seemed pretty pretty on board following Saishori. Following her pilgrimage to the tiefling homeland of Zepharel, potentially finding out more information about the individual that, I won't say ruined her life, but pushed her down the path she's currently on. That's season 1. Now we're in season 2.
We did it.
Did it.
World is growing. It's turning. I got things going on in the background.
Yeah, so far for season 2, we've been streaming it, but all that's happened is like we got our reward, we got our items. We went to go to town because there was an attack. We fought some bullywogs, and then next week we're gonna pick up the aftermath of that, which was supposed to be today, but we couldn't, so we're doing this instead.
Yeah, because, things happen, and we're okay with things happening.
Yeah.
But this also is something that probably needed to be done eventually, so it was fun.
Yes, our monk had to do work things. Work.
Yeah.
Who needs to work? It's
He's like working as I type this. Working.
Mm.
Yep, that's it. That's everything that's happened so far. We still know very little about the fucking world. Everything we find out just opens more doors, more questions.
That's supposed to be kind of the fun thing that I'm doing. So, like I said, for this campaign and hopefully future campaigns, the idea is that as you guys, like, I have lore that's written that's not on World Anvil. So the idea of it is as you or other parties start to unlock lore, I'm going to update World Anvil to reflect that because it's information that's being discovered.
Yeah. There's like a bunch of plot points and shit we could follow along with our personal backstories, which is what we were saying that we're following Zaishori's personal thing at the moment. We're all on board. We all have some crazy shit going on that we're not even aware of how crazy it is, I'm sure. Especially me.
My backstory literally says I was made to fight God, so.
He's interpreting that as that he's going to eat rhubarb bark or something.
I'm going to literally eat gods. I got an elemental.
There's working his way up the food chain.
Yeah, I got most of a behemoth in me right now.
I wonder if there's like a threshold for like eating shit.
Dozens. Maybe if I eat enough, I'll get their traits or new feet. It'll probably be useless, but it will be amazing. If I eat 100 bullywogs, I can speak bullywog now. I will intimidate them in bullywog speaking.
Seven just has the weirdest like level up tree on the sideline.
Tsuji has very little backstory, but a lot of his is kind of comic relief and just knowing information and making it even more hilarious that he knows it. Like finding Saishori, like knowing the guys Saishori is looking after, like trying to find.
It's like, oh yeah, I know that guy.
I've seen him before.
What do you mean you know that guy?
The fucking
trip. He was at my house before. He's chilling with my parents.
He came over for dinner, and I said hi, and that's basically it.
Yeah, it's fine.
I mean, I didn't freak out when I saw that you were a tiefling. Like, shit, I didn't even know the dude was a tiefling. I just kind of knew how he looked like. I didn't really ask questions as a kid. Shit.
And canonically, I am a child. So yes, I'm a murder child, everyone. It's the greatest thing ever. Yes.
Murder baby. Giant murder baby.
Yes. Explains why the barbarian rage and I murder everything, or at least try. And why I break so many objects. I think I gave Gus way too much gold for all these things I've done to his thing.
You bought his loyalty,
Yeah.
or as
I
much
gave him
loyalty as he can give you, other than his loyalty to the
I mean, the
broker.
mental distress he probably has gotten slightly from you.
Yeah. Yeah, but I gave him 100 gold for a wall.
This is true. He did.
Yeah.
Seven's a baller.
7 doesn't understand the concept of money other than it can get him things. I spent 5,000 gold on an item that I am not going to see for a very long time.
Been alive for a month has made more money than anyone else in the world would make in like a lifetime.
Yeah, what's the
Yeah.
average income for somebody, like a normal human, over the course of a year?
Over the course of a year, a average person would spend 15 gold.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
That's a moderate lifestyle.
I think so far I've
Like a
given
modest is like 5.
Yeah, it's
so
We have platinum.
yeah. Well, I think I've given Gus 150 gold so far, just or like between like 110 to 150. Just for random things. Oh no. I broke your wall. Here's 10 gold. Here's oh man, I broke your table, another gold. Here's just gold for helping. Here's gold for being here.
hey Gus, I don't feel like carrying this. Here's gold.
Yeah. It's fine.
Yeah, that's where we're at. We're picking up next Wednesday.
That's
Alright.
season 1. But yeah, like I said, if I'll open up to you guys if you want. Do you guys have any burning questions that I may or may not answer?
That's you, chat. Anybody in chat? I know a bunch of you are working and just not fucking typing. Anything you want to know? Any questions? Anything you want expanded upon? Waiting for David to be like, absolutely nothing at all. Let me work.
You guys are players. I'm sure you guys got questions that I have not clarified yet.
Oh, us? I have a lot of questions, but they're specifically for the broker.
It's like when it's asked, or what he asked earlier, like about that guy. Nope, gonna have to find out.
Is there anything I can't make into an improvised weapon?
Me,
I mean,
That's not true.
I don't like that response.
Well, I've thrown you before. I can do it again.
You're not wrong.
They used your main as a weapon. What's the difference?
I mean, the definition is improvised. So, I mean,
You used Germain as a weapon? When did you use Germain as a weapon?
No, not me, but the other ones. They threw it at Suji, didn't they? Or you? I think they threw them at you or Suji.
one of the big bullywogs threw Jermaine at, I think you, Vindep.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
At him, they chucked Jermaine at you.
Oh yeah, because he took all the damage.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Let's
fucked me up
use
a
our
little bit.
healing potion, like our only one. You're like, fuck.
It happens.
No.
I think you threw Suji into the lake.
That was accidental. I don't know my own strength yet.
And I shaped water and landed majestically.
Yeah. Because apparently Suji wasn't strong enough to jump across a 7-foot wide hole. Because I decided to dig a trench.
Weakling.
Keep us safe. And it worked.
I didn't want to like sprain my ankle trying to jump over or anything.
Yeah, what the fuck is Seven's obsession with digging?
Wartime trenches, you know? I'm gonna burn through the witches next.
What?
I don't know. The Rob Zombie song got stuck in my head.
That's just your battle anthem.
Yeah.
Dig through the ditches. Oh no.
I dig the ditches. Oh, you gotta bury your problems, okay? I do mine literally. I don't bury them, I eat them. Oh, for everyone else in chat, I am a Warforged barbarian who took Path of the Beast, and it's very fun.
Transforms. He gets
Yes.
angry and transforms.
For the record, we went into session 0 and like I had my world mostly built for like lore stuff. And Manny was like, I want to be a Warforged. And I looked at my notes and like, I have nothing written for Warforged yet. But I said, this sounds too fun for me to say no. So I literally had to write like the month before we started session 1, I had to write Warforged into my lore just to make sure it existed.
Has it been worth it?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like just like none of the other stuff I wrote could come to fruition, but just watching you play 7 has been so much fun.
I'm so glad to hear that. Before I even played, I broke the game a little bit for you. I didn't break anything. I just made it a little harder.
I was not prepared, and that was on me. I was not prepared for let's fight the guards at the gate. I'm like, oh, all right, we're doing this. All right, cool. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
Dude, literally in our fucking post game, he was like, I've been DMing for like 8 years or so, and Manny's the first person to just like fuck my shit up day one. Like I was just not ready.
Yeah.
Just not prepared for this, man.
Like this man just like walked into town and said, "Hey yo, give me them shoes." Because you took
like,
boots. You said, "Give me your boots."
Oh my
That was
God.
the first thing you said to the first NPC I gave you was, "Give me those boots."
Give me them boots.
Yeah.
Like,
You know, he's used to murder hobos, but not Danny.
yeah, I'm like, you know what? Threatening to kill someone? Sure. You went in there and said, "Hey yo, run them pockets." I'm like, what?
Give me your weapons.
So yeah, I have weapons. It's fun. No, I have goals. Look, I started the game not broke, and that was very important for me.
Yeah, you were the only one that had money.
Yeah. It worked out.
Did work out.
I was saying, like Jack had my favorite from session 1 between Manny and 7 doing that, and then Jack jumping on top of contracts are important, and he did not discuss with me at all what he was gonna do. And very quickly understood the premise of the world and who he was as a character. I was so happy. I'm like, yes, I wasn't ready. I wasn't 100% ready for this right away, but I'm like, I love the fact that you basically took what I said and made it your own. Like you were ready for it. You just dived into it. Like I'm making contracts all the damn time.
You said the fucking
No
world's
matter
based
what
around
the
contracts.
situation is.
Dude, I wasn't aware. None of us were aware how, like, I guess rare blood contracts and shit were. I was just like, well, that's my main shit. I'm fucking going for it.
Yeah.
Right away.
I
Scared a
can't do
great
blood
many people.
contracts.
Yeah, you don't bleed.
Makes me
Yeah,
sick.
it makes me bleed my own blood.
Yeah. I wonder what that could I damage myself to the point I die?
Yes.
All right.
Are you asking if you can commit suicide? Is this?
Yes.
I mean,
It's very difficult though.
the issue is yes, you can knock yourself unconscious, technically.
Yeah, but that's kind of it.
Also, that might be slightly Twitch TOS.
Oh, sorry.
I mean, it's in game.
Indeed.
In D&D, I have a very complicated character, and because of the the magic item I ate that turned me into a more magical item, I'm now constantly paranoid if I'm not in a full conversation with someone.
But no one, including 7, knows about this yet.
I immediately knew about that when
Well, I mean, you don't know it. Like,
No.
Seven doesn't actually
Seven
know.
doesn't know
that-
why it's happening. Seven just knows if there's a lull in conversation, he thinks he's being followed and being watched.
But Seven doesn't know that the lull causes it, right?
No,
no,
not
it
specifically.
start happening.
Yeah.
But I already had that kind of written into my backstory if I didn't figure out my purpose, which I kind of have been. And emotions are new to me. For this, I was just a regular robot. An automaton, a mindless automaton, and now I'm fully sentient and have feelings, and it's very confusing to learn everything in a month and a half.
Including where babies come from.
Yeah, I
Thanks,
learned.
Shori.
Yeah, and thanks for teaching me about the mounds and the hole. It's been great. Seven learned so much.
Also, we found out Suji is a virgin like me.
Oh,
Nice. You protect that thing, King.
Hell yeah. I'm sorry. That's how I get my wizard powers. I just have to age to like 300 as a virgin, and I just instantly become the best wizard ever.
hey.
Yeah, you guys are, like I said, the first campaign in this world, and hopefully that will be branching out soon.
As soon as
I
soon.
have other campaigns ready for the world. I think partially I need to get my own setup set up because I want to obviously do more of this, but you know, Jack is not going to be in all my games.
Yeah, I mean, I could be.
You could be. You can be in definitely more than one.
Also, our DM has recently become a homeowner. Congratulations to him once in motherfucking game.
Once a
Hell yeah.
motherfucking game.
So, but yeah, we're gonna be a lot of exciting stuff coming up. Like I said, I have a couple more campaigns I want to get started. As you've seen, or if you go back and watch session 1 and 2 from season 2. Currently, we're using a lot of Roll20 for our maps and a lot of our battle things. Eventually, I will be doing a combination of Roll20 and physical maps because I do have a lot of physical map stuff, as my players can attest to, that are really cool. We'll be doing at least season finales in person, which we're gonna have to do a whole lot of figuring out how that's gonna work if we're gonna stream those. But
I'll just stream off my laptop and put a mic in the middle, I guess.
yeah,
Some shit.
But
fun.
yeah, we'll do definitely season finales, possibly big boss fights if we can schedule them, because there are a chance that depending on what you guys do in a season, there could be multiple boss fights plus the season finale. So we'll plan those out. We'll see how everything goes. For the record, season 1 was 16 sessions.
Is that really? Wow.
Yeah. Season 2 without
Season 1 was how many sessions?
16.
Mm.
So season 2 without any other extracurricular stuff is planned, not including the 2 we already had, is probably another 12 sessions, maybe 13.
Okay.
But obviously, again, I have planned material. The world is still open to you guys, and you can all just decide to go a completely different direction, and we'll figure it out from there. But from the last conversation we had of what you guys are planning to do, that storyline is probably about 12, 13 sessions. More.
I'm down for another campaign. I will not be a Warforce this time. I'm lying. It's just fun not being not having to deal with worrying about eating, breathing, or sleeping. I'm blinded. Do a Warforged Hexblade next. I think it'll be fun. Or a Furbolg. I like being giant characters.
Furbolgs
Furbolg?
are fun.
Yeah.
I got to play a Furbolg that knew 11 languages.
Damn. The only the character I know now that knows more languages than I do.
Yeah, I went for it was a knowledge domain cleric with linguist. So by the end of it, I knew 11 languages. But it's all storyline purpose.
Yeah.
Because essentially his thing was he worshipped a god that nobody really knew about. But he found like the holy text of that god. And his only goal was to translate that holy text into every written language ever.
Oh.
So everyone could read it.
Oh, you had a good reason to pick a whole bunch of languages. Mine just happened.
Yeah.
Oh.
But definitely excited for season 2. I'm definitely excited for a lot of your backstory stuff because that starts now. Now that we've kind of like the threads were laid in season 1, but I think season 2 and on is when we're gonna actually start kind of diving into some of that stuff. So it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah. I'm excited. I want to fight the Bullywog King.
Bullywugs.
Baba Wawa. Wow.
Right, because wasn't the other like that guard dog deity thing also at the bottom of the fucking lake?
Yes, past him, past the Bullywog King, further down into the mountain, the broker said that one of the jobs you could have taken was to seek the gate of the plane of fire. It was hard to tell what the translation was, whether Paraxis was the name of the great old one of fire, the fire plane, or if it was a guardian. But essentially, you had to go to the gate and retrieve part of the gate stones that hold it open because the broker needed it for things.
Yeah. I have that written down in my notes. Paraxis guard deity thing. Guardian of the gates. If it's an actual thing, I want to make it my pet if I can't eat it. Look, I will have a pet.
I'm not denying that you will.
Roach, I have tried so hard to get that man his pet. And even with magic boosted animal handling, it hasn't been enough.
Yeah, shit happens, man.
Yeah. Well,
And pretty much 7 never rolls bad except for animal handling.
And the battle royale, I whiffed big time on that. It was my first 2 turns for my main attacks. Oh, I could have had a special item, but now instead, I have this equally cool snowman. He chills in my computer now, keeps it safe.
Nice. It's a nice frost claw.
Yeah, Frostclaw. I know Valier's not too happy about Frostclaws, but that's fine. They should have just made an effort to attack people. Like, he went after Ravi once, but, like, everyone did.
That is true. Everyone did.
Yeah. Look. I have the highest kill count, though, for the Battle Royale.
I thought I had the highest.
I killed the 8 frogs you sent after me.
Oh yeah, the frogs. But they were spirits. They don't really count.
I killed the most things and destroyed them. I broke the most stuff. I demolished an entire house, Suchi. What did you do? You got stuck in a web.
Yeah, but I killed some fucking familiars.
Yeah, you did.
To be fair, though, if you're not counting the frogs, the familiars are essentially the same.
No.
They are essentially spirit creatures that can be resummoned.
Yeah, but they're more important to the story.
I mean, they can talk and interact with them.
I killed a Russian in a D&D campaign.
He didn't mean that. Anybody who's listening, he did not.
That's all I said in a D&D campaign.
Mm.
Yes. We do not condone animal cruelty in real life. Just in D&D.
That's the funny part. That was Suji's justification. He's look, I can't kill animals in real life, so I killed it in a non-consequential dream sequence. That was the druid's justification for killing 2 familiar cats.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's heartless.
It's like I would never kill an animal.
Battle Royale starts just
But he
instantly
said
throw
no
next day.
consequences, so I figured I'd try it. Just to see, if I liked it or not. I didn't. I kind of did.
No, he did. He really did. But next time, I swear to God, I'm only biting people in the next Battle Royale. Everyone better watch out. I think by then we might level up again and my power will continue to grow. I can have bullywog teeth implanted into my bite form for my rage. I think that would be irony. For all the frogs that try to bit me, their own teeth get them back. I think that's the most doable thing.
But is it though?
No. It's a very bad plan, but I want to do it just because I can.
It's gonna require a lot of work between Suji and Revi to figure out what to do.
Look.
For what? I'm sorry, I was half listening there.
Seven is trying to figure out how to implant the bullywog teeth into some form of his body.
I have 20
Oh
years.
dear lord.
Well, you want to find out how I worked, right?
Well, that's true. I would like to attempt that. We're going to be able to do, potentially, in the long term of this campaign, some wacky fucking creations. I'm an artificer, and now Suji is a master blacksmith.
Yeah.
And I am a robot man thing.
And I am a blank canvas, please.
Yeah. Because I've given up on my tattoo idea, even though I don't know how easy it is to find someone who is willing to tattoo a robot.
Your face shall be my canvas, and my penis shall be my paintbrush.
No, Seven doesn't know what those things are.
It's a little weird. It's just a tiny bit, a bit too much. Just a tad.
Was that Tinker's there? I was confused.
Yeah, that's
okay.
That Tinker's.
Oh, don't you worry, Tinkers. I would never have sex with a robot. What sort of degenerate would do that? Tinker's like, well, don't go that far.
I'm not saying don't do it. I'm make sure it's anatomically correct. Just,
Right, Seven has no holes.
brings up the question. It's like, a simulacrum, like that's basically like a robot person, right?
Are we about to consider the philosophical and moral implications of having sex with your own simulacrum?
It's not gay, it's masturbation.
Suji, you missed it. Talking about masturbation.
Oh, nice. Kids friendly stream.
How could we have our talk on masturbation without our most experienced master?
Master
Okay,
debate.
everyone in chat, I'm asexual. I don't believe in touching myself. Anything.
Masturbation? That's touching a dick. I ain't doing that.
That's wrong.
That's wrong.
I am too sober for this conversation.
Andrik is watching over me at all times.
At all times.
Eh.
All the fucking time.
Oh. Wait, so do I technically have 2 magic items or just the one now? Or am I a magical item?
No, you have a magic item, and you are now more magical
All right, a magical
person.
person. Yes.
All right, gentlemen. It has been fun, but on my end, I am going to depart for the evening. I'm glad I could stop in, though. I was pretty sad we didn't get to play tonight.
No worries.
But Zelenkov will return next Wednesday, 7:30 Eastern Time, which is 4:30 Pacific Time.
Hopefully
Anything in
7,
between,
but-
you're not real humans.
Hopefully 7, but realistically 7:30.
Probably
Those are all
8.
true statements.
Yep. All right. Have a good night, guys.
Later.
Night. Oh.
Good night. Oh, he's gone already. Fuck.
Oh.
God, he's gone. Oh.
Oh, fuck that guy.
Hey. Who even invited him?
Well,
Also, chat. Whenever Brad, aka Robbie, is not on stream, we're probably gonna call him Drew. So just you know, don't even ask. Just that's what it is.
All right, question.
Now video evidence that, right?
Yeah, of course. But
Back.
is he gonna watch the VOD of this? No.
Oh, him leaving fucked up the cameras.
Sure, he literally called him Drew. Like,
Hey,
"Where's
I've
Drew?"
watched the VOD of both of our sessions.
She called him.
She called him Drew to his face. Only 2 people have done
She
that.
really did last week. That happened, and
Yeah. No, Chet. So if you don't know, I drink a lot, especially in social gatherings.
She's like, oh my god, I did.
She didn't even notice.
Yeah. So
She's like, stop. I was mortified. Wait, I wasn't here. I was getting a drink. But she goes like, Roach, Zina, goddess of love, is she pro public masturbation?
I mean, self-love, sure, yeah, go for it.
There's your answer.
So that is again part of the weird thing about my pantheon. Not weird, but different, I guess.
So what was this masturbation conversation?
All I got out of it when I was listening on my phone was that we're gonna Bukkake 7. That's what I got.
Oh,
out of it.
okay, cool.
what?
I just heard
But
penis is the paintbrush, his face is the canvas. There's 4 male elves. You do the math.
Basically, yeah. But yeah, the thing about my pantheon is the gods look over their domains, but the domains can be argued for good and bad. So they are worshipped for both the good parts and the bad parts of the domain they like watch over. You know, there's no difference between a god of love and a god of love and the god of lust. Like they are technically under the same umbrella. Like they are both Zina. Like she just, you know, some people might pray to her for like marriage and, you know, romantic love, while others might pray for other things.
It's a horny god. Makes sense.
That applies to like a lot of the gods. Like you can pull out the duality of a lot of their domains.
She goes, Zina's all for gangbangs. Oh no. Oh no.
Oh yeah, and chat. I ended up calling Brad Drew because I was very drunk and I swore that was his name for a very long time and it just stuck.
But I mean, it lasted a little bit more because then he finds out his name is actually Brad.
Yeah.
And then he's just, whenever we're having conversations and I bring up Brad, he's like, just call him Drew.
Yeah, it was easier.
I kept doing it multiple times because, we hang out quite a bit in real life, me, Joe, basically. And we go on food adventures, all sorts of fun stuff. Maybe we'll share a food Instagram. And basically, every time we went out and I mentioned Brad, he's like, call him Drew. And then now it's just this big inside joke.
It wasn't call him Drew, it was like, who? And then like, oh, right, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he's aware of it at all.
Yeah.
No, you literally told me to just call him Drew.
Oh, man. I don't
think Drew's aware that he's Drew.
He was for that one night during your birthday. And then that was the end of it.
You see, he thought he was calling you. You were calling him something else, and I go into that.
Yeah.
And knowing Drew, he probably was very drunk as well.
Yeah. It's fine. Things happen. I know his name.
Now you do.
Yeah.
For like a good year or two. It's just Drew.
Yes.
She's like, oh my god, no, it makes it worse. Plot
Yeah.
twist, he's watching the stream right now. He might be. Now he knows his own origin story.
He is.
And now he can do a sneaky trick around it.
Yeah. But yeah, guys.
All right, it's almost 11:30. I think it's time to call it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been fun. I had a good time.
Yeah, this is good.
Fun chatting, fun going over some stuff. Now we have a little bit of a video recording of what happened in season 1.
Yeah, we have an oral history.
Oh man. You guys gotta stop bringing up all this sexual stuff.
Listen, just because you don't have genitals doesn't mean the rest of us can't have fun.
Look, you're gonna have to explain what this all is to Seven in person. You know that.
I already did.
You didn't explain oral and gangbangs.
That's Shuri's
masturbation
territory. It's her problem.
So you do. Seven just gonna look down. Like, what do you have? And point.
He's literally just gonna forcibly rip off your pants.
All right. All right.
And then out of nowhere, make a strength save.
I'm calling it. Fuck you.
Do you want the charisma save?
Thanks for hanging out tonight. We'll be back I'll be back tomorrow with Counter-Strike, but we'll be back next Wednesday with more D&D.
Woo!
I stopped to doubt chat.
See you guys. Good night. I'm out. I have things to do.
7 can fit into the vor category. 7 can fit into the vor category. He already does. We're leaving. I'm clicking the end stream button. Say goodnight.
What
Shut the fuck up and say goodnight. Just say goodnight. Say goodnight. We're not getting into vor, at least not tonight.
Beautiful. I love you so much. You are loved.
That's for the next
Have
stream.
a great one.
Yeah. We'll get into the intricacies of war next week. Good night.
All right. Goodbye.